and final test of this series. We're going to get underway again in about 5 minutes time. The England team is already out there doing a few exercises, throwing the ball around. Apparently 1 centimetre fell in about 45 minutes. That's of rain, and it's taken a while to get everything hunky-dory for play. I am Gorilla Hendo, Nigel Henderson. I'm joined by a man with his back to the covers and a gloomy-looking Southampton, as it was an hour or two ago. It is Nestle Boy.
Thought I'd just race down here. Thought I'd get in the ground and do it from the ground. So
was it busy on the M3? Busy on the M3?
No.
A lot of aquaplaning going on.
Yeah, just when you have a Ferrari, it's quick.
Yeah. But of course, that wasn't your Ferrari, was it? Presumably.
No, I nicked it.
Okay, fair enough. Also back for more fun and jollity, and to see if we can get anything like a conclusion to this game, because it's going to rain all day tomorrow, is not Fred Titmus. Can't hear you, Fred. You'll have to unmute yourself or something. I don't know what's wrong with Fred. He's sending me all sorts of hand signals. I don't know what they are, but I can't hear a word you're saying. So you're going to need to sort that out. When we had the break,
it's not on.
The Pakistanis had moved on to 41 for no wicket, and that was in 108 balls. So there was just a one chance this morning that went down.
Can you hear me now?
Butler, yes, Josh Butler dropping Shan Masood off who else but Jimmy Anderson, who is probably doomed to remain on 598 or even 599 wickets till the end of time. So, how are you feeling now, Fred?
Bears click the right button eventually.
Can you oh, you've frozen now.
I've frozen.
You're having a nightmare there, aren't you?
No, it's the bear standing in front of the camera, that's all.
Quite know what's going on, but hopefully you're going to be able to take part in the conversation.
Hello.
Anyway, the batsmen are on their way. Would you like to jingle up the batsmen, Fred? Make yourself useful? That'd be handy, wouldn't it?
Usually on a nice printed card.
Shan Masood was born in Kuwait in October 1989. Less than a year later, Saddam Hussein invaded. Coincidence? Yeah, you keep telling yourself that.
So who have we got on the tweets? Is that you, Nestlers?
It is indeed, mate. No one so far has come through. They're all off doing something else because of the rain, I think.
I suppose so. Anyway, there is a bit of sunshine out. There are some shadows of the players as they wander back into the middle. And did we? I missed around lunchtime. Did we come on briefly after lunch and then have to go off again?
No.
No?
I don't think so.
I could have sworn it was 34 for naught this morning.
We haven't been off on since lunch.
Did you get back on before lunch after the first break in for rain?
Who can remember these things?
Well, I'd quite like to know, because I was elsewhere and out of touch, but could have sworn that Pakistan was at 34 for none rather than 41 for none. Maybe I got that wrong. And in fact, we haven't had any play for the best part of 2.5 hours. Anyway, the teams are out there. Still quite a lot of cloud around that may be laden with precipitation. But for the time being, we're going to get underway, and we're going to have 52 more overs, weather permitting. Light, rain, pestilence, locusts, all sorts of things. And opening the bowling after this enforced break is none other than little Jimmy.
As you can see, we've had our eye on you for some time now, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes, indeed, it's going to be Jimmy Anderson, still looking for those elusive 2 wickets that would take him to 600, making the first paceman to have 600 victims in Test cricket. We're calling this the evening session because effectively we've had tea as well as lunch. And just looking at the field, it looks like we've got 3 slips, backward point, extra cover, mid-off. And Jimmy's ready. In to bowl to Abid Ali. He's in, he bowls, he defends the ball on the front foot towards extra cover, and there is no run.
We've been joined on Crick Tracker by some people. Raman Afridi, Rama Lingam Virabago, Ahmed Khan Yosafarzai says, when's the match going to start? And I messaged him back and said, now.
Now! It's happening now. We have 51.5 overs remaining in the day. There is a lot of black cloud around. There is the odd patch of blue as well. The lights are on. In comes Jimmy to bowl to Abid Ali. Abid Ali defends a ball that is hinting at swing away from the right-hander. And the ball goes straight to extra cover.
Jeff Perkins has joined us. Hendo confusing the weather lunch break for his first nap of the day.
Oh, if only. If only I could have had a nap.
But Hendo, you should be in favour of the combined lunch and tea interval.
I'm all for that. I'm all for combined lunch and tea. Yes, absolutely.
You'd
Why
rather
play?
that than Test cricket, would you?
Well, why play when you can eat? Anderson, again, he's into his 6th over. None for 9 at the moment. He bowls to Abid Ali, a ball back of a length, and he just drops his hands and allows that to pass at around about chest height through to the keeper.
Muttley is drinking himself into a stupor. Friend posted on Facebook for his 53rd birthday that he was born the year before Martin Luther was shot. I knew my friend was old, but not that old. I always thought Martin Luther died from complications from Meniere's disease.
Meniere's disease, that's the sort of infection of the inner ear, isn't it? That upsets your balance. Yes, I believe so. I have known 1 or 2 people to have that. I didn't know you could die from it, though.
You could in the 1600s.
Maybe. Anderson in again, bowls to Abid Ali, slightly angled down the leg side. Nice little shot off his legs from the batsman, but there's James Bracey, who's been followed around by the ball when there has been activity today. He, we believe, is on for Ollie Pope, who injured himself, went down on his shoulder, trying to prevent a boundary, and that is the shoulder that he's had trouble with by all accounts, which is a little bit of unsettling news as we go into a mainly test list winter. Nevertheless, Anderson in once more to Abid Ali. Abid Ali leaves this one, good length delivery outside the off stump, and through it goes, thudding into the gloves of Joss Butler. More tweets.
You asked for more tweets, and you
I
had
do.
them.
Good.
Jeff Perkins says, do you think Jimmy volunteered the whole team for some extra catching practice during the break?
It would seem wise, wouldn't it? It would seem wise, especially as it's really only been him that's been affected in terms of their figures.
Ravi Nair says Pakistan may have snuck on and stolen 7 runs before England noticed and complained to the umpire.
That could be true. Jimmy in to complete the over, hits Abid Ali on the pad, a very full delivery. It was again going down the leg side. They will take a leg bye, though, as the ball runs out towards square leg. So the first run after the lengthy break that we've had today, Pakistan moved to 42 for no wicket. Fred, what
I have
England
nothing
got
to say,
do?
but the Bear has asked me to speak so he can monitor the levels.
Okay, well, you can speak.
I know he
I
said
want you
carry
to
on,
tell
so
me.
I'm just going
I want you.
to... Should I work my way through the alphabet, or...
No, I'd like you to tell me what you think England need to do here.
10 wickets. They need to take 10 wickets in the next day and 52 overs.
And preferably not in a facetious way.
What England need to do, and actually they have done very well this summer, is after a poor session to come out and provide a really good session with the ball, because they have had many poor sessions with the balls, but they have managed to turn those round, and whether that's to do with the captains or the coach and things that they are saying, but most of the time that's happened. And I'm going to play you the jingle of the other bowler.
Good.
Sweep the leg, Brody. Got the best headband around. Something has got to keep her down. Got the best headband around. Your ego ain't gonna be kept down. Got the best headband around. Even though your hair is thinning now.
Right, the Bear's happy with the level, so I can stop talking.
Okay, jolly good. Broad it is then into a 5th over. He's got 3 slips. He's bowling to Abid Ali. Abid Ali is forward in the sunshine, guiding the ball towards the gully region. Dominic simply strips off the end of that slip cordon to do the fielding, and there is no run.
Brian Barish has joined us. Good day, Gorillas. Sorry for not being around for most of the match, but I'm here now. Don't talk about naps because I could totally go for one now, and it's not even 11 a.m. here yet.
Well, I've got a really busy week after this, and I won't be too sad if there's no cricket tomorrow, because I might be able to get one of those naps in I think I'm about 5 naps in deficit at the moment. Broad in again, wide on the crease, looking to angle it in and then take it away. Didn't go very far in, didn't go very far away, but it was left alone by Abid Ali, who's now moved on to 22. Sean has 13.
Busy week. You breaking the lockdown, Hender?
No, it's just I've got lots of work. Lots of work.
5 naps in deficit sounds like Grubby's betting tips.
Probably, yes, indeed. Pakistan are 42 for no wicket. They trail still by 268. That doesn't really matter. They've just got to get through the end of today. Broad in again, bowls to Abid Ali. Abid Ali is forward. Bat rotating slightly in his hand as he tries to play that straight. It goes a bit skew-whiffy and off into the onside. And there is, again, no run.
Farrah Badshaw likes the combined lunch and tea, you say, and refers to one of his previous tweets from 2 days ago about the argument for 2 to 4 hour lunches. And Muttley says, thanks, Fred. Glad you got that reference.
Not sure what the reference that was. Anyway,
it was Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King. That was the joke.
Broad bowls to Abid Ali, gets in behind this one. It's a straight, good length delivery. The ball runs up to Chris Wokes at mid-on. He immediately tries to dry the ball. There must be some residual dampness out there. And will then hand it back to Stuart Broad.
Except that he died in the 1500s, not the 1600s. But I got the gist of the joke anyway.
Well, that's good. That's good. Broad again, at the end of his mark. His run-up getting more angled by the day. He's in, again, bowls, and at the last moment, Abid Ali, whose eyes had seen a potential half volley, decided, hang on, that might swing away and catch my outside edge. So he removes the bat from the path of the ball, and no damage is done.
Brian Barish says, I'm pretty sure it's possible to make up naps like one makes up overs when it rains.
It's called a coma.
Yeah, it is. They always say that you can't make up sleep deficit, but I think that's nonsense because I've done it loads and loads of times.
You've done it consistently since 1983, I think.
Pretty much, probably earlier than that. Broad in to complete the over. Bowls to Abid Ali. He does try to drive this one. Again, closes the face a little bit as he does so, and therefore doesn't get the timing he's looking for. It's fielded up at mid-off, and that is the end of a maiden over. Pakistan 42 for no wicket.
Muttley loves having an afternoon Hendo nap.
Yeah, it's one of the best things out there. You get it on the NHS now, you know. The Hendo nap. Yep. I've
should be subsidised.
I answered the call from the government, and they gave me 22 billion.
Okay. And you've got no experience in it at all, so
exactly.
They just said, go ahead and do it.
If anyone has experience in naps, anyone in the world.
Actually, that's true.
That's why Phil Tufnell was known as the Cat. That was his nickname, because he could sleep at any time, anywhere.
Indeed. I can't do that. Normally, the most difficult time for me to sleep is when I should be asleep. That's one of those weird things about the human mind. Anyway, Jimmy Anderson will continue. 6 overs he's bowled, none for 9. Still looking for those 2 wickets to take him to 600. He's going to be bowling to the left-handed Shan Masood. And here he is, coming in the sunshine. And bowls. This is tucked away off his hip by Masood, down to Chris Wokes, who's now at long leg. And they take a single. Shan Masood moves on to 14. He's faced 56 balls. Abid Ali has scored 22 from 65.
Mezzy Jez has joined us, just returned from a meeting during which the draw is shortened from $285 to $172. And he realised he spends way too much time on Zoom when he coughed and immediately started looking for his mute button.
Oh yes, that's been one of the things I've had to adapt to over recent days and months.
Not very well.
Not very well. I do give a warning generally. Anderson in, bowls and brings Abid Ali forward, but not totally in certainty, but defends into the offside. There is no run.
This has not been... Sorry, Nestor, I was just going to say this has not been a a high-intensity session since the restart from England. It just seems a little bit pedestrian. It just seems that Root will always go with Braun and Anderson, almost
Yes.
regardless of the situation.
Well, I think it's because Anderson is so close to 600. That's a good ball. He gets that to wobble in the air and then come in to Abid Ali. He does meet it well, but it was a testing delivery fielded by Crawley in the covers.
But in the same way as dropping Stuart Broad from that first Test match galvanised him, maybe opening with Bess and Root might have them chomping at the bit, and all the more
Hungry?
more motivated when they do get onto bowl.
Maybe
I
they're not
think the bear does need to turn you down just a smidgen, Fred.
Yeah, you're a bit noisy. Anderson in again, finds a thick outside edge as Abid Ali is forced onto the back foot, but he squeezes it out to backward point, and there is no run.
Being the father of a newborn, says Brian Barish, I can tell you that the next 18 years of my life will be nothing but making up naps.
Yeah, well, if you will do that thing and produce the next generation, then I'm afraid that's true.
Muttley didn't get much sleep because his new fish tank has been trickling. He was up all night going to the toilet.
Flicked into the onside. Certainly Abid Ali wants a single. He'd come almost halfway down the wicket as it's fielded at mid-wicket. Shah Massoud sort of points to the fact that there is a mid-wicket and says, why would you want a single at that point? Anyway, they don't take one, and the score remains 43 for no wicket.
And Jeff Birkin says Hendo wouldn't have to keep making up nap time with early starts and late finishes if he didn't take so long with his naps and end up with such a slow nap rate that he incurs penalty points.
I'm still trying to get my head around that. That's a bit confusing for me, especially when I haven't had a nap. Anderson again to complete his 7th over. Bowls! And they got up for the catch behind. Not entirely convincing, and Richard Illingworth is unresponsive. The DRS timer is on, but I don't think anyone's going to review that. Everyone has their reviews intact at the moment. 3 apiece to Pakistan and England. That is the end of the 21st over. Pakistan are 43 for no wicket. More tweets.
I mean, Jimmy, he normally gets it right, and he didn't seem interested, did he?
He sometimes does look a little bit sort of peeved with life, doesn't he? He doesn't look wound up enough. Maybe someone needs to drop a catch off him to get him going.
We've got Pasminal Islam Mahim. Why they arrange a text match in this season? I don't know. Kenzlurg Singh Damour sent us a nice little gif, and Bilal Hijazi says hi.
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 Hi. Lovely to have you along. Broad is going to go round the wicket to the left-handed Shah Massoud. 2 slips of gully, backward point, cover point, just moving a little bit squarer, mid-off, mid-on. Square leg and long leg, I think, are the other 2 fielders that we're looking around for. He's in, he bowls, and he comes forward, gets it off a thick inside edge towards Dom Bess, who is now at square leg. And there is no run.
Warren's with us on Hot Mic. Hello, everyone. Lunch, tea combined equals tench.
Bear has twiddled the knobs. How are my levels?
You're still quite high.
Big gain. Too much gain.
Yeah. He never gets it right. He's never balanced, is the bear. Just looking at ultra edge. Nothing there.
Bear
to
says
see.
thank you for your input.
Previous delivery. Broad in again to Massoud. Straight full delivery, which he defends with a full face the bat up to mid-on.
Yeah.
Still struggling to get going. Just the 2 runs since we came back on in the best part of 4 overs.
There's been a couple of people who've been saying this. Muttley says, I wouldn't be surprised if Anderson retires after his 600th wicket.
No, I wouldn't. I think, no, Anderson's, he lives for cricket, doesn't he, really? I think there are players who like, to go out on a high, but I suspect he will sort of slowly slip away. Defended on the front foot, in comes Dominic Sibley to catch the ball on its 3rd or 4th bounce, and there is again no run.
Bear likes
He'll
to go out
on
on a high.
He'll go on till his body breaks down completely, won't he?
Yeah, I think he will. And of course, there's already a job for him in the media, isn't there? He's done a bit of media work. He's done podcasts, and he's quite an eloquent speaker. So he will still be around, I suppose. Maybe to pass on some tips to the new generation of England quick bowlers.
Well, we could teach him a thing or two in Sydney.
We could. Nothing to do with cricket though. Broad in, shorter, pulled by Shan Masood, but he didn't really get hold of it, and it was a good piece of fielding from Dominic Best, tumbling away to his right at square leg. The score remains 43 for no wicket.
Seeing as we are a BBC feeder station, it seems.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that tweet yesterday. I think it's also someone's tweeted about it this afternoon. That the Calling the Shots podcast series done by Dan and Adam was having excerpts played of it on TMS yesterday. Always a little push at that. A good ball from Broad that went away from him off the seam through to Butler, but just not able to find that edge at the moment. And I said, I don't think they'll be playing episode 5 because quite a bit about guerrilla cricket and the alternative cricket commentary axis, I suppose, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, that was a decent episode. That.
Oh, very good episode. I listened to bits of the other ones, but not all of them. They are quite lengthy, it has to be said. You have to have a bit of time. Broad in, full ball, driven nicely by Shan Masood through mid-on. That, even though the outfield is quite damp now, will reach the boundary as Chris Wokes jogs towards
it. Where's he
going? Where's who going?
Him.
Oh, Mark Wood. He's running on in his yellow visibility jacket and his gloves. Not quite sure for what. That brought 4 runs to Shan Masood. He goes to 18, and Pakistan to 47 for no wicket.
He looks like a customs officer, Mark Wood.
Do you think so?
In a bib and rubber gloves. Yeah.
I think if I saw Mark Wood at customs and I'd been pulled aside, I'd feel quite relaxed about it.
You would feel quite happy, yeah.
Yeah. We'd talk about AFC Wimbledon.
Take a while to get through customs, wouldn't it? I saw something a bit odd earlier on that I don't know if anyone else picked up, and I'll tell you about it after this ball.
It's Jimmy Anderson starting his 8th over. 3 slips go down, driven by Abid Ali, but he dragged it away through square leg. Dominic Best going after this. They have to hurry to get back for the second run, and it's a rather awkward bounce for Jos Buttler in the footholes just in front of him, so he's not able to gather it cleanly. But they've got back for a couple. Abid Ali moves on to 24, and this partnership is almost worth 50.
Paul Collingwood was wandering around earlier on in an England shirt, and it was one of Rory Burns's. It had Burns on the back.
Well,
now,
what does that signify?
I don't know. Was he trying to sneak on?
Maybe he tries to. He dresses up as Burns on Mondays.
Burns night. Anderson in, bowls, defended on the front foot, good delivery, pressuring the off stump, and again there's no run. 261, the number of runs that Pakistan still require to make England bat again. And you may remember we were talking about the stats around follow-on targets earlier today, and you can read our stats article on that on the website guerrillacricket.com. We should find out a bit about the GPL, how many people entered that as well. Anderson in, outside the off stump, a little bit too short, forced by Abid Ali, but without any real timing, straight to extra cover. Again, no run. I presume we'll have to wait for the bear to come back in before we can find out what's happening with the GPL.
I have 8 screens in front of me. Literally 8 screens.
Can you find one of them with the GPL on?
Well, I think if I start playing with something, bad things might happen.
Oh yeah, good point. Absolutely. Anderson again into Abid Ali. Shorter one, which he has to play down from in front of his ribs. Surprised him a little bit. Best scampers in from square leg to field. And again, no run. 49 for no wicket. All got a bit quiet on the tweets front as well, hasn't it? It's almost as if people think this game has died. It has ceased to be.
It is no more.
2 ways of playing a short ball like that. You can fend it or you can sway, which is also a Japanese furniture arrangement technique, isn't it? Feng shui.
Feng shui. In comes Anders, another short one into the ribs, which he's a little bit more uncomfortable with. getting it to ground really by just thrusting the top hand at that. And I like this from Anderson. He's caused some pain to Abid Ali, who's now taking off his left glove to have a look to see what damage might have been done. He's now shaking that hand with some distress. I suspect before we go on, he will have to be visited by a physio or a doctor. That's caught him on the finger, and it's jammed it against the bat handle. That is always one of the most painful situations for a batsman. We are going to have a little bit of a break while
just what we need, a break.
Comes down steps. So there will be no cricket for the time being. Some more tweets, Nestlers.
Knuckles getting annoyed. He says the sooner this 600 thing happens, the sooner we can go back to talking about Anderson's cricket rather than when he'll stop playing it.
Well, I don't even think that when he stops playing it. I'm not really interested in when he's going to stop playing. If he says I'm going to stop playing, I'll say all right then, well done. And if he goes on, I'll be happy for him to go on because he's still a very good bowler. I don't know why we're so eager to retire people these days. It's desperation for a story, isn't it, basically?
He's brilliant. Get rid of him. I see that Cookie got 100 today.
Who did?
Sorry? Cookie,
Folksy.
Yes, Cookie did. Yep, that's right.
All the discards.
Sorry?
Went past 24,000 runs at the same time.
You read my tweet. Anna Forsyth says, thanks for clarifying that Burns Collingwood thing. I thought I was going insane or seeing double was a symptom of my sleep-deprived mind. I'm glad you saw it too, Anna. See?
Well, I think what would happen was when England fielders were going down like 9 pins, they probably thought, well, send Collie on to have to field, and it's a case of grabbing a shirt because he does have to be attired in the England marketed gear. So
that's true.
Whoever's around. Sometimes happens in football that substitutes wear the wrong shirts as well.
Yeah, it has been known.
Jeff Perkins says the game hasn't died, it's just pining for some fours.
Maybe that's what it is.
I remember a time when we were playing Aston Villa at Highbury and David Platt had to go and goal for Aston Villa, and he got an Arsenal goalkeeper's shirt borrowed by Arsenal. I don't know why. Maybe they didn't have a spare goalkeeper's shirt, and the chant from the North Bank was "You'll never play for Arsenal." But of course, a couple of seasons later, and got us into Europe. In fact,
he did quite well.
Do you remind people of that once he was there? I must admit, I don't remember David Platt playing for Arsenal, but there you go.
Yeah.
Anderson, we're back on, and immediately he goes past the outside edge of Abid Ali's bat, but again he fails to find that edge, and at the end of the over, Pakistan remain 49 for no wickets.
Wasn't he bought with Bergkamp by Bruce Rioch?
Yes, I think he was. Was that 1994?
I mean, I always think that Bruce Rioch should have a marble statue in the Hall of Fame at Highbury for buying Dennis Bergkamp. So,
yeah, I was always a big fan of Bruce Rioch as a footballer. Actually, he had a fantastic shot on him when he played for Villa. That's going back even more or even further than 1994. Very good player, good left foot, and liked him.
If you ever wanted to know what Nigel Henderson thought of Bruce Rioch,
you now know.
You are now satisfied.
2 slips in the gully for Broady, bowling to the left-hand Shah Masood. Backward point, cover point, wide-ish mid-off. Just getting his mid-on to move round a little bit squarer, I think, as well. And he comes in to bowl past the umpire, and Shah Masood leaves this one outside the off stump. And there is a lack of intensity, there's a lack of maybe belief at the moment. Maybe that rain just put it in England's mind that it's not really going to be their day.
No, it was the combined lunch and tea. That's why they're lethargic. They literally can't walk, half the team.
Yeah. Too many scones, too much jam, too much clotted cream. All those things, probably.
They have power bars and
pasta.
Power fruit.
How boring must that get day after day, being an athlete? Broad, in, bowls, and Shah Masood's looking for that, but he's played it all right. Defended it with the full face of the bat. Looked towards cover as if the ball had gone out there. Now, Joe Root has gone running up to Jimmy Anderson. He said, I think what he's saying is,
Second time they've
Piss
done
off. He's saying,
can you
piss
just
off.
can you just
retire.
lift your intensity a little bit? I think
Retire
that's maybe what he's
already.
saying. And he's
still
just
playing?
on Guerrilla Cricket whether you should retire or not. So let's put everyone out of their misery. 49 for no wicket.
If you want to know what it's like being, it's not boring being a fine athlete every day. I find it, quite interesting actually.
You've got an athlete somewhere, driven up towards mid-on, where it is fielded, and there is no run.
I manage without the power bars.
Yeah. I think most people on Guerrilla Cricket prefer other sort of bars.
Well, it's the great sacrifice we make to bring you cricket coverage, that we're basically sitting all day on our asses, not getting any exercise. Otherwise, we would be as
I don't know,
lithe and as limber as Jimmy Anderson.
To be honest, sitting on your backside all day does do something for your backside. Makes it very numb. Brawl, that must be good, mustn't it? Outside the off-stump, hit him on the pad. He's appealing for LBW. He's been given out. That's an extraordinary decision, I think.
I've got to review
He's
that.
left that alone. I can't believe that was coming back to hit the stumps. But it's been given by Michael Goff, and we all know that Michael Goff is God when it comes to umpiring decisions. But I think that's very unlikely to be given out on review. Didn't really
I was definitely in. Were you definitely in?
Well, it's just brushed the pad. I mean, it's going to be
Clipping. It's going to be clipping off.
going to be clipping, so he might be gone. But if so, then hats off to Michael Goff, because that's a brilliant decision. But he did play no shot. That's what's put him in danger, really.
No, that's only if it pitches out. If it
Well, it's pitched in line, and it's umpire's call on wickets. Impact in line. Umpire's call on wickets. That means Shah Massoud is gone. I bow to you, Michael Goff. Well, I think Shah Massoud is understandably going to be a little bit distraught and shocked by that, because it seemed to be going across him. But, oh, well, that is a very tight one.
Did you notice Butler made a complete hash of the take?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Dropped it
Well,
in.
maybe that's what England needs to get them firing. Shah Massoud can't believe it. He's the angle would have said to him that's surely going away towards the slips, but seemingly not.
Well, literally seemingly, because it did slightly seem back at him, just enough, in the umpire's opinion and in Hawkeye's opinion, to be clipping the outside of off stump. It's not a great decision. I mean, I know you say well done to umpire Goff, but I don't think any bowler would. Well, the bowlers might, but a neutral might say, well, that's a pretty tough way to go to be giving out LBW.
Well, it is, but it's been proved by the technology to have been the correct decision.
Yeah.
And
it's one of those that whatever the umpire's given, you say it's legitimate.
right. Well, I've lost my Sky satellite, so someone needs to do some commentary for me. Maybe I can see on my computer. I'll keep an eye on the feed that we're getting through.
Well, I can step in an emergency.
Okay.
Well, I can do some tweets while that's going on.
Go on then.
Ralph the Wonder Llama, afternoon Gorillas, afternoon everyone. Basically, we have this session to conclude the match Statfest then. Breeny001 says, or is it Brian, is anyone really trying here? Seems like the game is drifting and they're all wishing for rain. And our very own Grubby says, Michael Goff, umpiring genius.
Let's jingle up the new batsman whilst we're waiting.
Oh, who could it be? Well, I was trying to commentate with my feed. I don't know whether it's going to be good enough, but we'll see. If it isn't, I'm sure you'll tell me.
Oh, yes, we will.
I'm sure you will. Anyway, Brody is just making some changes to his field, and he has got what could be a crucial breakthrough. Azhar Ali is out there, 141 not out. Marvellous innings in the first knock for Pakistan. Would have come up to open last night had he been required, but he's now out there batting at number 3. Broad is in. He bowls into his legs. He turns the ball up to mid-on with that angle, and there is no run.
You are freezing a little bit and or buffering. Should we Are you happy to
Hendo?
carry on, Hendo?
Fred, I think you might need to take over for a little bit, Fred.
Okay.
I'll come back in 5 minutes. I'll try and sort this out. Okay.
Righty-ho.
Turn it on and off again.
4 slips wait as Broad comes in and bowls to Azar, just ducking into him slightly, and he defends it up to mid-on. No run, 49 for 1 off 24 overs, and trailing by 261 runs. That's how many they need to make England bat again. Nestlers.
Spit the Dog is reminiscing about Bruce Rioch and Peter Lorimer. Rockets for feet, them were the days. And Knuckle Pandy said he found out the other day his friend had moved into a flat which used to be the old stadium. The friend only realised when they saw the words East Stand. Suddenly their Arsenal supporting partners' enthusiasm for the flat made sense. Yes, that reminds me of something. I moved into a flat with a girlfriend at the time in just off Upper Street, and the day of the first Arsenal home game she said, "Oh, you're going to go?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to the match." She said, "How do you get in there?" I said, "Well, I'm walking." And she looked at me and went, "That's why you wanted to move into this flat."
You were sussed.
Wasn't the only reason.
I was more of a West Stand man than an East Stand, but good views from lots of places. Anderson starts a new over, and Abid goes back into his crease and defends us into the covers. No run. So England have got the little there's a crack in the Pakistani dam, if that makes any sense, and Azhar Ali has come to put his finger in the dike. Am I mixing my metaphors? I'm not entirely sure. But Abid has looked, well, it doesn't look like a bad wicket to bat on, to be honest. I think somebody says earlier, once you get in, it's quite difficult to prize people out. And Zach Crawley proved it. Let's see what Jimmy can do. He bowls now to Abid, who's again comfortably defending this up to Stuart Broad at mid-off. No run.
Yeah, he looks pretty solid. But you never know with these boys. You never know with the umpire.
Should we hijack this, Nest? Let's just do an Arsenal chat for the next 10 minutes till Hendo gets up.
Yeah.
What's your favourite Arsenal goal?
Maitland Niles has gone, by the way.
Has he? Well, that's 2 players short we are now.
It's annoying watching Bayern Munich with Serge Gnabry playing as well.
Well, there was a lot of rubbish talked about that as Anderson bowls a short ball, which surprises Abid, and he only realised it late and fended this down towards a short leg area. He's done it a couple of times in the last 2 overs, but still there is no short leg in. If I were Gary Naylor, I'd be banging on and on and on and on about it.
He did earlier.
It's a bit odd. He does not like having a short leg, does Jimmy? I don't know why, because he might have picked up maybe 2 more Test wickets. We've now got a leg gully going in. Nothing has flown in the air. That he's come from 4 slip, so watch this one go through 4 slip. It's a short ball again. Jimmy is varying his repertoire. He's turned into Malcolm Marshall. There's a slowish bouncer, and Abid sways underneath it, and through, taken by Butler. I note that because it's a rare occurrence. Yeah, who's your favourite ever Arsenal player?
Ever?
Yeah.
Bergkamp.
Yeah. I'm going to
Brady, Bergkamp, Henry.
Anderson bowls and defended by Abid back to the bowler.
Robert Pires.
Robert Pires is my favourite.
Definitely up there. I mean, he was just wonderful.
And an unappreciated genius, really.
I think so.
Because he played in a team with lots of more famous names around him, but he was just an absolutely extraordinary player. I nearly ran him over once in Hampstead. He ducked out. This is much taller than you think, actually. Probably would have done the car a bit of damage. But you shouldn't have stepped out in the road. That was a bad idea.
He's got a flat in the old Highbury.
Has he? Anderson bowls, and this is played through the covers, not particularly well timed by Abid, but it's going to get about 3/4 of the way to the boundary. Brody chases it out there, and he's followed faithfully by somebody else who has nothing to do, and then trots back. So 2 runs to Abid, takes him up to 26, the end of the 25th over. Do we have any tweets?
You know that goal he scored where he just sort of, I don't know, he was running and just sort of almost in one movement just chipped it over the goalkeeper from miles out. I can't remember who it was against.
It was Schmeichel against Aston Villa, possibly?
Was it Aston Villa? It was just such a breathtaking moment.
It was a side foot volley lob.
Oh no! That's one where he chips Michael. I'm
Yeah.
talking. There's another one where he kind of is running and he just he's miles out and you just think, what's he doing? And it's
Just
But,
search YouTube
yeah.
for the greatest goals of Robert Pires. You'll have 20 minutes of just sheer delight.
yeah. Anna Forsyth isn't happy about Maitland-Niles going. I don't know. I think he's a really good player, Maitland-Niles. And
Well,
I thought Nabry was as well.
we have a change of bowling, and I've just remembered that I'm on
You're on jingles.
jingles, so I shall jingle this man up.
What on earth is Hendo
Now
doing?
it's time for Jofra Archer.
Hendo's gone for a nap. Either that or he's going to come back just as his stint is going to end. We've got all the A's. We've got Azhar and Abid batting. We've got Archer bowling. And we had Anderson at the other end. So we're not getting very far down the alphabet. As Jofra Archer, right arm over the wicket, bowls. Not particularly quick ball to Azhar, who's yet to get off the mark. He places up to mid-on. No run. 51 for 1. Pakistan just looking to bat time. You're listening to the Arsenal podcast on Guerrilla Cricket with Nestlers, myself, and Anna Forsyth. Don't read any scum tweets, will you?
Bergkamp was her favourite ever player. Henry versus Leeds was my favourite ever goal.
Of course, there was Brady against Tottenham.
Oh yeah, the 5-0.
The 5-0. Archer bowls again. Looks very, very pedestrian on pace. Let's have a look what the sky tell us. It was 84 miles an hour, which is sort of Jimmy pace, well outside the off stump, and Azhar leaves.
I interrupted a Brady family pizza lunch in Upper Street once when I walked past, saw them all sitting there, and I had my Brady shirt on, number 7, turned round with it on my back until Mr. Brady turned round and signified it. I couldn't help myself.
As Archer comes in and bowls, and again Bear's giving me some tips as we speak. That one's through to Butler again, no run. Hendo has been readmitted and will be with us shortly, just in time to go off air at 25 past.
El Topanus is with us. Nestler's not Fredster. How you doing? Greetings from Bombay. Greetings
to you.
All seen.
LC. As Broad is having a chat with Mark Wood on the boundary. Archer bowls again, the shorter ball outside the off stump, and Azhar leans back and watches it go past him. So yeah, I was hopeful that England were going to step up their intensity after the long break, but it's fair to say it hasn't really happened.
No, this is the sort of same as this morning.
It's a 25 over old ball, and as we've said all along, the wicket is pretty good for batting on, but I don't know, maybe let's see what Best can prize out of this 4th day wicket. As Archer bowls, onto the back foot goes Azhar, plays this to cover, no run. It's up a tick at 87 miles an hour, that ball.
That's 87 miles an hour, and he didn't even look like he was trying.
Hendo is back.
I'm back to do the last minute of my session.
Should we have a vote on it, Nestlers?
I've got one ball. I've got one ball.
Okie doke.
Let me have one ball.
Oh, of course,
It's
Nestlers.
Jofra Archer.
Do you remember Nigel Winterburn's screamer against Wimbledon?
I do. I was right behind it.
I'm not talking to you. We're
The
talking
traitor.
about
The traitor. He was a Wimbledon through and through. Archer in bowls to Azhar Ali, leaves alone outside the off stump. That's the end of my little stint. It's the end of Fred's little stint.
No, it isn't. We've got 1 minute. Got a minute to go.
No, you haven't, because it's the end of the over. I'm going to
Another over, shouted Bear from the other room. You can't just take 10 minutes off in the middle of a stint and then just insist on coming back. But he's gone. Hendo's gone. Hello, Jono.
Hi, gents. How are you?
Hello, Jono.
Afternoon, Nestlers.
All right, mate.
Very, very well. I have recently just gone out with the news that myself and a group of investors have bought Woodstock Cricket Company.
Oh.
Which is very exciting. So, cricket business I've been involved with for 10 years. Myself and a group of investors, including Toby Tarrant and Max Rushton from TalkSport, have gone in and bought the business.
Are these the bat makers that you were talking about before?
Yeah, so my old business partner is going to stay on as our master bat maker, so nothing will change from that perspective. But he just wants to make bats, and so I'm going to take on the running of the business. And myself and these other investors have purchased it. So exciting times.
Well, congratulations to you, and we need to speak about your marketing spend, as we do have the change of bowling I was calling for. So let's jingle up the man in question.
If the pitch isn't good for pace, get this lad on his bowling's ace. But if you need someone who bats, you should just save Dom Bess for last.
Well, Bess is on, so the camera, of course, focuses on Butler. I don't know why. I do know why, actually. As he goes and puts his helmet on, and for 2.5 minutes, nothing has happened. Why do they allow this? Nothing is happening.
Nothing is happening.
We've got a slip, a short leg. I'm doing this ball by ball for the next over until the bear comes in. And is that Bracey under the helmet at short leg? And we've got a slip as Bess will be bowling to Abid Ali, who goes back into his crease, defends into the leg side. No run. Interesting to
Bruce.
see. Go ahead, Nestor.
Sorry. Bruce Fox is with us on Hot Mic. Hi folks, thanks again for hanging in there. 11 PM in Hong Kong, some light viewing prior to my own nap. Everyone's napping.
Best bowls again. Fuller ball, which is just pushed up to mid-off by Abid comfortably. No run.
And technically, 11 PM is not a nap, it's sleep.
To be fair, we don't know of our correspondence timings as best bowls again, and this does spin back into the pad, but a big stride forward from Abid Ali. So there was some noticeable turn there, and not out of any rough either. That looked like it came out off the main part of the wicket. This is Bess's first bowl in the innings. He's got his dark sunglasses on as there is some sunshine out, and back into his crease goes Abid, turns this past the man at short leg and walks a single.
Do you often see that?
Bowlers bowling in sunglasses.
Spin bowlers, I suppose, did Warren?
Giles did it a lot, didn't he? I think it's
spin bowlers we're talking about, Jono. Spin bowlers.
Oh, sorry, my mistake.
Yeah. Well, he's cleaned his glasses now. Leach famously wears glasses, but that not necessarily sunglasses. Azar yet to get off the mark. Is on strike now as Dom Bess. He's only got about 4.5 paces up to the wicket. Bowls on leg stump, and it's turned into the ground and into the hands of short leg. In a ball's time, we're going to have some sort of a changeover. Bear's going to come in and do ball by balls and jingles, and other people are going to do other stuff. And Hendo's going to have a nap. As Bess bowls. Back into his crease goes Azar, defends this to mid-wicket. That's the end of the over. Nestor's reading some tweets and we'll have a changeover.
Okay. Let's see. Bryony001 says there appears to be more excitement and commitment here at Northampton Skate Park than been shown there by Pakistan. They seem to be wishing away the game. Wobble Anderson and Archer both in the high 80s miles per hour as per Cricket Info. Doesn't seem right, does it? Well, Anderson was bowling very fast earlier, and Archer always does.
Yeah, well, always does. He doesn't always bowl, and I think that's part of the problem. Everyone thinks that he should bowl, but you can't always,
He rarely dips below 85, does he?
No, he really. Yeah, but I mean, everyone expects him to bowl at 90, 94 all the bloody time.
Everybody is silly.
I know, but they put so much pressure on him to do that, and it's not all about that. Pace just doesn't do it on its own. Oh, it's a bit late on that, Abid Ali. Sort of brings his bat down, gets an under edge into the ground that scoots along to Butler, and there's no run.
Can I just say, well taken, Joss Butler.
Well, you could do, but he dropped one earlier. He had a bit of a howler this morning. He seemed to be a bit late on that.
Dom edged it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's what I mean. He was kind of a bit late on it. Archer is at the end of his run-up, and he delivers, left alone by Abid Ali through the keeper. There's no run. Do you think?
Where do you stand on the Joss Butler thing?
So I've been a big advocate of Ben Folkes, and Ben Folkes got 118 for Surrey today, I believe. So
yeah,
I mean, unfortunately, it's not 153. So Butler's still going on that front. But I think going into subcontinental conditions, I think Butler could retain his place as a batter, but I think you need a top class keeper.
Yep. Archer short. Abid Ali ducks underneath. It's through the keeper. There's no run. 88 miles an hour. It's pretty quick.
I think as we were alluding to earlier, Nestlers, when we were on with Gary, it then just, how does that affect the lineup, and how do you create a balanced lineup? You know, with Stokes coming back in, you probably want 2 spinners. Would Stokes play that third seamer role? Is there room for another batter, which would allow for folks to come in as a wicket keeper? A lot of thinking to be done, I think.
Archer up to the crease. Abid Ali seems to be a bit late on that one again. His bat suddenly coming down from like gully. Anyway, he gets it on it and defends it out to cover, and there's no run.
It's funny talking to everybody who I meet from like Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, like my guys in the corner shop. They absolutely love Butler, and they cannot understand why anyone would consider dropping him at any point. It's.
I think we've seen a lot this summer when you're talking about dropping people.
Archer up to the crease now, bowls into the pads of Abid Ali, turns it nicely round to long leg where Broad, and it's a single.
It almost seems like it happened. We were talking about it in the West Indies series with Shai Hope as well. Regardless of form, people seem to be undroppable based on reputation and the fact that they may one day do something. Butler's scored runs at the right time to get in these 3 test matches. Obviously had a really good test match this time, but I think to look at wicket keeping alone going into subcontinental conditions, I think if there's a way to get folks in the side and keep a balanced side, then that would be the right thing to do.
Yeah, Archer in again to the pads of Abid Ali. Azhar Ali this time. He flicks it nicely out towards deep mid wicket, and he'll come back for 2.
Well, greater minds than us, so-called, and who get paid a lot more to decide such things will have to think about that, won't they?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. I think
you keep forgetting about Stokes bowling as well.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. They'll go with. They're getting an extra spinner in, so they're going to only keep 2 seamers. So, Wokes, Anderson, or Broad, one of them goes.
Yeah.
It'd
be Wokes, wouldn't it? You'd think.
Well, out of this side, you can get rid of 2 seamers, can't you?
Yeah.
You get Stokes back in. That takes up Wokes' place, really, because they're all rounders essentially. And then Archer goes. Bess on the back foot, driven by Abid Ali up to mid off, and there's no run. The problem is Stokes into this lineup. Stokes takes Wokes' place, which then means either Archer, Broad, or Anderson miss out, and you got place for another spinner, but it doesn't get you folks in the side. Bess is up to the crease, bowling to Abid Ali. It's outside the off stump. Yeah, he keeps a little bit low, but he adjusts. It was a bit short, and he was on the back foot, punched it out to cover, and there's no run. Unless you say that because you're going to bowl so many spin overs that Stokes is your second pace bowler, then you free up.
He won't do that.
3 places.
They're not open with Stokes with the ball. You wouldn't.
Nah, you wouldn't think so, would you? Bess up to the crease, bowls, and Abid Ali gets right in behind it, plays it out short leg, and there's no run.
I think by what Butler's achieved in this game, he's made the what would have been an awkward decision for the selectors. It makes it easier for them to justify to themselves the reason not to pick Ben Folkes. Now, whether that's right or not,
that's defended into the leg side, out to mid wicket by Abid Ali from the crease. I guess the other thing is to say you replace. So if you replace Wokes with Stokes, Bess bowls outside off stump. Forward comes Abel Ali, defends the short leg and there's no run. I'm just trying to think how this works. If you want a middle order that has, so Root and Stokes in the middle order are 4 and 5. You could have Crawley opening with either Burns or What's-a-McGiggy. You could move Root up to 3.
Yeah.
And that would allow you to get Folkes and Butler in. That defended out to mid-on where Roy Burns fields and there's no run. So you could go with a side. Let's think of a side. So say Crawley goes to open and with Sibley, say. So Crawley, Sibley, Root. Stokes at 4. Pope. Then Butler. Then Folkes.
Yeah. Then Rashid's come back into the mix.
Adil Rashid comes back into the mix. Okay, right. So Adil Rashid could go at 8. Broad, Anderson and Bess.
Well, Knuckles gone Archer, Leach and Anderson or Broad. I think the argument for Archer is because they say that subcontinental pitches are quite placid because he has got that extra yard of pace.
Yeah, that's true, and he has bowled out a lot in the IPL. Might have some ruses for it.
It might be that he's an Anderson or Broad
plus Archer. And that does allow you to get Folkes and Butler in. It's defended up the crease and there's no run, but that necessitates basically getting rid of one of the current openers to allow Crawley to go in there. Or you could have Perm 1 of 3. Crawley, he scored 271. We all expect him to be there. You could have a howler in the first 2 and then you switch him out for the other opener who gets another chance.
Burns did well when he toured Sri Lanka last time, didn't he?
He did all right, yeah. I mean, this is it. You need players. I mean, my thoughts were that Sibley, the way he backed, Archer bowls outside the off stump, has a shapes to hit it, but it's too close and he lets it through. There's no run. My thoughts were that Sibley would struggle against spin. This is the way he bats. But he's actually not been too bad. He's been reasonably effective. He's quite happy to use his feet. So yeah, you could perm 1 or 2 of those for the sake of the team. It would necessitate Root going to 3, as we said, and the Stokes at 4. Then you can keep Ollie Pope in the side. Or you might say that Pope's had on the last 3 innings he's had, he's not had a particularly good time. Defended into the offside, out to cover, and there's no run. Did all right against the Windies, but he's not done much against Pakistan, and he's looked pretty vulnerable getting bowled or LBW back on his stumps. And there'll be probably Char might well play for India, in which case there'll be a leggy, and he's quite a decent one as well.
I can't see them going away from the formula that they seem to love so much. I think Bess would probably be unfortunate to miss out.
I think Bess will have a place. Archer in, bowled, driven nicely by Azhar Ali, but can't beat. I don't know, is that Sibley? I think at mid-on. I just can't imagine Sibley at mid-on. Looked like a big, tall, bearded fellow. No, I mean, well, they didn't in Sri Lanka, did they? I mean, Broad had a break in Sri Lanka, and Jimmy was Jimmy not even out there, was he?
No, I think Jimmy played, didn't he? I think it was one or the other they went with.
Yeah, Jimmy might have got 2 tests, and Broad got the last one. Left alone outside the off stump, dies a bit before it gets to Butler as Archer bowls, and that was a slow ball anyway. As only leaves it, no run.
I've got to sing this song.
Go on then.
Hendo, he only had 1 ball, not Fred. Took over the call. Nestler's dread tweet from Messers. While Bear said Hendo had some gall. And that was from Jeff Perkins.
Yeah, indeed. But he just turned his telly off, didn't he? And said he'd had trouble, came back and said, I've got to go again now. He's got to go and have a nap in the afternoon. 55 for 1, England. Archer in, bowls short. Azhar Ali gets down on 1 knee, watches it go harmlessly over through to the keeper, and there's no run.
And Grubby says, can we please have a silly point? I mean when Bess is bowling rather than the content of the commentary. We can do silly points.
Yeah. I'm sure he wants one.
See now, Wobble C, Mel Shoppinus from Bombay says, Butler is an absolute gem. I mean, Folkes is an artist all right, but no reason why Butler can't get better enough at keeping to retain his place for the India tour.
Yeah.
They love him. They love him.
I mean, I imagine they'll keep him. I mean, they did do quite funky stuff in Sri Lanka, didn't they? Maybe they thought they could win that tour anyway. Bess is over the wicket, and Abid Ali just drives that pleasantly out through cover. Sibley chasing it. It's filled in the deep by Wokes on the cover boundary, and there will be a single.
Grits and Grat says, I think there's an irony in dropping Butler, but I would suggest in his recent response, primarily as a batsman, he should stay in. What else does Folks have to do to get the side as a specialist wicketkeeper?
Yeah, well, there's a lot
got
of
100 today.
There's a lot of arguments pro and against that, aren't there? They've been trotted out for time. That's too short and too straight by Don Bess, and Abid Ali just goes back, rides it off his hip down to long leg for an easy single.
Looks very flat, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's only the new ball that's ever really done anything.
Exactly. It's looked quite easy to bat after that, especially once you get in, it looks quite easy. That one's looked like maybe an arm ball, went on straight with the arm. As already sort of acknowledges it, defends it out to cover, no run. He definitely goes for the sort of top spinny thing, doesn't he, like Nathan Lyon. He's got a seam that's at 45 degrees rather than 90.
They've been doing a lot of analysis of the two, haven't they, together?
Yeah, they have. Best bowls, and it's clipped sweetly by Azarani out to mid-wicket, and there's no run. There's nothing wrong with this, but it doesn't look particularly threatening. There's not enough spit out of the pitch and enough turn to really worry a top-class batsman, you wouldn't have thought. I don't think there's a problem with Best particularly. That's defended back down the track and there's no run.
Yeah, you're almost waiting for just the batsman to have a lack of concentration for a wicket.
Yeah, although when he got was it Fawad Alam out yesterday? That was a cracking delivery. And that did spit, but it was around the wicket into the rough outside the left-handers off stump. It's a lot easier for a right-handed bowler to do. Last ball of the over is clipped out to mid-wicket, and there's no run. But I think he'd enjoy India.
Who, Bess?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's ever bowled out there before, and it's a quick learning curve, but at least the bloody, it turns from pretty early in the match, and you feel like you're in the game.
Muttley says, I can do silly. What's the point again?
There isn't. Just be silly.
Michael Pandy's back with us. Sibley's improvement versus spin was encouraging, and in any case, spin will not be the only challenge. In the last 2 years, spin and pace have taken equal numbers of wickets for India at home.
Yeah, well, and Indo was saying something like that recently, and of course, they've got Ishant Sharma, they've got Shami,
Bumrah.
Yeah, Bhuvnesh Kumar, exactly. So they've got a decent pace attack now. But he also did say, and it is true, it's partly the way that the earth is made up out there, the clay, etc., etc. But it has got better for pace bowlers.
See, there's lots of love for Butler on Facebook, on YouTube from Z. Butler is the king.
Well, there you go. Archer in, bowls outside Abid Ali's off stump, and there's no run. Too many balls have been able to be left today that England have bowled.
I think there's a lot of there seems to be a lot of love for Jos Buttler in the subcontinent, because you consider a lot of where subcontinental cricket fans will have watched Buttler is in the IPL, and he's done incredibly well on wickets that don't turn.
Yeah.
In Test match cricket, it's completely different out there, isn't it?
It is, it's true, but he did do pretty well in Sri Lanka when we were out there, and he is a pretty decent player of spin. He uses his feet well. He's not scared of sweeping. That's left line through to the keeper, and there's no run. There's nothing worse than being swept all the time as a spin bowler.
That's 88 miles an hour, and it's bounced before it's got to the keeper. This wicket is now a featherbed.
Yeah.
It's got nothing in it at all.
Nah, the odd one spits, but yeah, you're right. Abid Ali certainly looks comfy. Archer comes in. He's only got for 7 runs though, and he's in his 8th over, short and down leg side, and there's no run. It's ducked underneath by Abid. I mean, maybe it is time to. I know Gary was going for it earlier, but you got to have a strategy here. You know, stick in a leg slip, get yourself a short leg in, cut the men out on the hook, 2 slips, bang it in. Give it some. See if you know, he's got the pace to be able to do it if he really cranks it up. He's at the end of his run up now. 58 for 1, Pakistan. Archer up to the crease, bowls again into the hip of Abid Ali. Turns that quite comfortably out to mid wicket, and there's no run.
We've got some quick tacker comments. Puneet Singh says PAK lose. HM Jewel says BJ. And Azim Sandhu says Puneet, you idiot. They're arguing.
Well, this is heading more than likely heading for a draw.
Oh, yeah.
If the weather,
tomorrow's a washout, isn't it?
Yeah, tomorrow looks like it'll be a washout. Archer in, bowls. It's a better ball. Abid Ali covers up there nicely. Depends up to mid on, no run. That was 88 miles an hour. So there's only cranking the pace up.
He just seems to do it without any effort.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Wobble Team says, "Oh come on, don't put Butler down. Love to just his IPL performances." I think we're not putting him down. We're just trying to figure out the England lineup. And, you know, it's an embarrassment of riches to some degree.
Oh, I think that was a slower ball. Abid Ali propped forward and seemed to hang there. Yeah, 78 miles an hour, as if, oh Christ, the ball doesn't arrive. But he managed to get a fat inside half of the bat on it, and it goes out square on the leg side. There's no run. I think that'll be drinks.
I mean, it's like, you know, when you've got a really, I suppose to a certain extent, like a Man City, you know, when you're trying to fit in all these world-class players, what you think is going to be a winning side. It's you know, and everyone's got an opinion.
Well, what we liked when they went to Sri Lanka last year was it was kind of horses for courses. They went there with Moeen Ali, Adil Rashid and Leach, and they said we're going to have a 3-spin attack. And they only put 2 pace bowlers out on the pitch and they had Stokes as a backup, and it really worked. And I think they have to think like that again. I mean, does Moeen Ali come back into the picture for India?
Is Adil Rashid definitely not playing?
No, he hasn't definitely ruled himself out if he was called upon. It'd be interesting now. I mean, what is he, 34? He's a lot older. He's like an older statesman. He's certainly proved it. He's a World Cup winner now. And so he can go, well, I've done what I was supposed to do. Maybe he'll enjoy the challenge again of a test match. Especially if he knows he's just going out there as a specialist and he doesn't, you know, if he's not that fussed about not being picked again. And maybe when you get older, you become a bit more sanguine about this thing and you think, wow, horses for courses, I could do with going out to India, blah, 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 and have a bit of fun and relax into it. But like all leg spinners, you get hit for 4 and over, it's a lot of a different ball game in a test match.
Beats working for a living.
Yeah, it certainly does. Any more tweets?
They're having a drinks break, aren't they?
Yeah, they are having a drinks break.
Let's have a look on YouTube. Z also says Johnny Bairstow will be an expert in the subcontinent. We can even have Roy instead of Burns in the subcontinent.
No. Jason Roy ain't no test player. Steve, he's on a hot mic. He says, great coverage, Jack. He's keeping us in the game. He's keeping him in the game while restoring an old building in the Costa Brava. Nice.
Costa Brava.
You're going to have to quarantine if you come back, Steve.
Yeah, maybe he's out there permanently.
Well, yeah. And then what'll happen after the 31st of December when Brexit kicks in?
Well, they're pretty keen to keep all the Brits out there.
Yeah, they are pretty keen to, but I mean, all their rights and the situation will change, surely, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what my sister's situation is. I think she's got some thing.
I mean, there'll be
out.
preferential treatment, unless the Tories really fuck it up, which, you know, is possible.
It's just a case of getting the healthcare sorted and all that stuff, I think.
Yeah.
People are most worried about, because at the moment you've got that card where you can go into Spanish hospitals with, which she's done, and it works perfectly.
Okay. Yeah, Steve's there for the long term. You're leaving Brexit Britain, yeah? Sensible man.
I'd rather be on the Costa Brava than Essex,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Fair enough. Abid Ali's getting cold spray on his hand. Is that when he got hit a while back, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, they've been out to him a couple of times, haven't they?
Maybe he's a little fracture somewhere in there. Now he's taking his trousers down. Joy.
He's right on my bum as well.
With his padding. Drinks looks like it's over. Who's that guy? He's the substitute field. Bracky.
Bracy.
Still out there. So who's off permanently?
Pope.
Do we have some Pope? Ah, of course. His shoulder. What's he done to his shoulder?
Well, he ended it.
I know he went over. Was he dislocated it, or was he just?
Might be a rotator cuff or something. It's the same shoulder that he had operated on last year, so it's not like he maybe hyperextended it or something.
Oh God! Mind you, I don't think England will have to ban again, and he'll have time off. He'll deserve time off as well. He's batted all right this summer, although he last 2 or 3 innings not too great. Well, pretty poor. What?
I thought it was a hiccup.
Oh. We're back on the ground. Pakistan 58 for 1. 32 overs gone in their second overs. Following on, England's massive 583 for 8. They still trail by 252 in the follow-on, but the important thing is they've only lost 1 wicket. Nas was on 2 of 21 and Abid Ali's on 31 of 105. Not been made to play it too much today. They've been able to leave the rule pretty well. And the chances are, if they get through today, it'll end up being a draw. Because tomorrow looks like a washout. Dom Best tosses that one up way too over pitched. In fact, it might well have either been just a half volley dug out over the return crease, or a full toss just jabbed out behind point.
You look at the field. I know that he likes to bowl with this cover point on the boundary. The way England are going to win this match is by bowling straight and at the stumps and setting an aggressive field. And I'm not sure a deep cover point is the way in which you're not going to get a catch out there, are you?
No, but I think this is why I'm glad I'm a left-arm spinner. Defended into leg side and there's no run. You get to bowl at the stumps as a right-arm spinner. If you bowl too straight, it's always a left turn. It just turns onto the legs. Therefore, you have to bowl outside the off stump, and then if it doesn't turn enough, it's
play it there, haven't they?
What?
That's what I'm saying. If you bowl straight enough, they've still got to play it.
Yeah, they do have to play it, but it's a lot easier to play it if it's turning into your pads from straight. Defended out the leg side, and there's no run. And you don't feel it's a particularly attacking line, because what you actually probably want to do is if you're pitching it just marginally outside off stump and spinning it back through the gate and bringing all that into play. Clipped out to mid wicket and there's no run.
If this is the rain in Surbiton now, and the bit we had earlier that hit the Rose Bowl, I'm no surprise they were off for so long.
It's not it's dark here, but it's not raining. Don Bess, that's flatter and quicker. Defended though by Abid Ali out on the leg side. There's no run.
Did you see that one of the wickets yesterday shouldn't have been given because Butler's hands were in front of the stumps when the ball was bowled?
Wow.
Oh no, I didn't know that. I didn't see that. Bess bowled outside off stump. That one goes on, and there's a half appeal by that's an arm ball or one that didn't turn, depending on your persuasion. Abid Ali played it definitely, and it zipped past his outside edge. It was taken by Butler, but he just didn't get anything on it. Didn't miss by much. Playing for a little bit of turn that wasn't there. Not a bad over.
Grubby's messaged me, you can keep the Costa Brava, I'm telling you mate, I'd rather have a day down Margate with the family. Behave yourself, Grandad. That was my very poor impersonation of Chaz and Dave.
Well, you know what, I think I'd rather have, well,
my wife's in the front room with the Nestlers. She just turned around listening because obviously she could hear it, and she just gave me that one.
Oi, he's got a lovely voice. Well, we're going to have a change of bowling. Archer's off, and the change that is happening is this man.
He's a Twitter fan on the Ashes tour. Not Ben Stokes, but he'll have to do.
I have an irrational hatred of Chaz and Dave because they're bloody Spurs fans.
Well, yeah. Yeah, no. Spurs are inoffensive. Wokes in, bowls, that tails in nicely to Azarani, who clips it just as nicely straight to mid-wicket. There's a little bit deeper on the edge of the square, and there's no run.
Spurs are inoffensive.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a Liverpool fan, they're inoffensive. I don't mind anybody. Except for United, of course, I fucking hate United.
Oh, they're inoffensive.
You couldn't get me a beer from the fridge, could you, Fred? Thanks, mate. And my lighter's over by the computer while you're there. Yeah. Cheers. Wokesy is up to the crease now. Bowls and outside the off stump. Azarani is refusing to play at that, and there's no run. This is it. They're certainly settling in for a draw, aren't they? I mean, they're just not tempted to play at anything that's off the stumps unless it's a hittable delivery they can get some runs off.
We've had an interesting tweet sent in from Spain, which I'll read out after this ball.
Oh, please do. I bet it's warm.
From someone who I've not ever heard of before on Guerrilla Cricket.
Oh, okay. Welcome along. Wokesy up to the crease, defended by Azarani. Up to mid-on, and there's no run.
Graham Hunt, brackets Valencia property, says, Guerrilla Cricket, everyone is leaving Brexit Britain. Brits already here keep their rights to healthcare, etc., and the rush now is to get residency established before the end of the year for those who aren't already here. And he's just put Valencia-property.com, by the way. Smiley face, smiley face.
Oh, lovely. I quite like to move to Spain. Property in Spain is quite cheap. Wokes in, bowls, and it's defended up to mid on. There's no run. I was looking at. I always fancied somewhere down. Is it Almeria down by Mahaka? Mahaka. Down you can get 5-bed villas with a pool for about 250 grand. And you're like, well, you know what? That's not too bad.
Decent weather.
The property boom in Spain is no more. I've got a place in Javier, and the market's just
dead. I know, totally. Same in France. I mean, if you got a building bent, Wokes in, bowls, and defended out to the onside, and there's no one. I mean, you can literally buy shells with, you know, a couple of acres for 25 grand in some godforsaken
That's
part
the thing
of
now. It'll take so long for it to recover. I mean, we're basically halfway in between Alicante and Valencia, and it's beautiful. It's lovely. We're inland in a tiny Spanish little village. But you drive past so many half-built and quarter-built and three-quarter-built villas. The market takes so long to recover because people are going to swallow those up cheap before but then it's the money you have to spend to get them finished.
Yeah, Wokes in, bowls. Oh, that beats the outside edge. That's a decent ball. Azarani slightly propped forward to defend that and whipped past his outside edge through the button. There's no run. I guess you could say.
Having spent sort of a fair bit of time there the last year, because of going over to see my sister, I love it there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really easy pace of life. I mean, that's the thing about hot countries. The pace of life is so much easier, isn't it? You know.
It's just a lovely place.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I did I worked for a corporate video for some property company out there years ago, and we went out to Costa del Sol, I suppose, and we were up and down filming flats for sale and stuff for 2 or 3 days. And all you could see was cranes and buildings on the horizon. Bess in, bowls. Abid Ali gets right behind it and just plays the short leg, and there's no run. And just
admittedly, my sister's not in the Brits part. She's up in the mountains in the Sierra Nevada, and I mean it's stunning. And but it's a little village life that I like.
Yeah, that must drive you mad after a while. It depends, I suppose, what you want. Clipped to short leg and there's no run. I mean, whenever I used to go to my mum's in the country, it'd be like, wow, this would be really nice to do this. After about 3 days, just craving, life.
Human contact.
Exactly. Well, there's a lot of old people down in Devon too, and we had kids, and they were young. Bess is up to the crease now, bowls, and defended to short leg once more, no run.
The nearest village to her is like a 20-minute drive away up the mountains, but it's funny because you go there and there's Tom and Mark, the two young British blokes who live there, and that's the socials. And there's a woman who writes for the BBC, and that's the kind of social scene. But it was fine. It was great. Beers and food in the evening, and great fun.
Bess up to the crease, too short, and Abid Ali just defends that out towards mid-off. Cover comes across, pick it up, and there's no run.
I mean, sometimes the whole lifestyle drives my sister nuts because she gets annoyed with the slowness of it. But
well, that's what I mean. If you want a bit of life, I suppose you can go somewhere, stay in a hotel. It's quite cheap.
Oh yeah.
Bess up to the crease, bowls. Very full driven out to cover. Sibley Fields, no run.
The siesta drives her mad because everything shuts.
Just do it yourself.
Hendo would love it.
Yeah.
Like, fireworks going off until 3 o'clock in the morning and all that. Like.
Yeah. What's that about?
Well, Oh, now that's interesting. There's
That's
an
out.
appeal.
Is that out?
I don't think it is out, but it's not. No, I don't know.
The substitute says it is.
Not a bad shout for LBW. You might have been going on to hit the stumps, but possibly not. Doesn't look like it's going to be a review.
No.
I know they were going up for a catch, but it was reasonably straight. No, it wasn't. Oh, actually, it's bollocks. It's hit his thigh pad, probably outside leg stump. It's missed his bat by a good 3 or 4 inches. So it's bad on all fronts, and no need to review. But at least he got on to turn, brings that man into play.
I think with the fireworks and everything, Nestler, it's such an evening-based lifestyle out there, isn't it? Like you see 4-year-old kids walking around at 11 o'clock because obviously they have the siesta in the afternoon.
Well, they have tons of fiestas, don't they?
Yeah.
See, I don't mind that. Although these days I can't handle them. I was always quite insomniac and stayed up, but now I just fall asleep on the sofa. Azhar Ali is facing up as Wokes comes in, starts his next over, bowls it short and wide outside off stump, and Azhar misses out really, gets an under edge into the ground, goes nowhere, and is no run. I guess at the end of this over we're due a change. Fred's coming back in for me. He's doing ball by ball. Jono remains on Twitter, and Hendo's coming back supposedly. He is. He's just arrived in the hall. Wokes in, bowls, driven nicely by Azhar, but straight to cover. And is no run. He remains on 3 of 30 deliveries. He's not fast at all. And Abid Ali is 31 of 116. I can't remember. I think I went under for the fall of the next wicket. It was about 75. I think they only scored about 3 runs in the meantime, and that was half an hour ago. Wokes in, bowls. Azhar gets right behind it, and there's no run, which can become dangerous in its own way. What have I got? I got under 75 and a half, and I think they're on 50.
59?
51 at the time or something, or 50. So they scored 9 runs in the entire time we've been on air. And they seem quite happy with it. Maybe England should, if this is how they're going to play, bring some more fielders up. They've got 3 slips for Wokes. Oh, wow, now he's gone for a pull there. And he didn't know where it had gone. It's gone straight up in the air off the top edge. Fortunately for Azhar Ali, it's gone over the slips and down towards third man. And they'll come back for 2.
I don't think anyone knew where that went.
It just went straight up in the air. Can't see where it hit on the bat from that, but it must have been a toe end top edge, mustn't it? To get over there. Someone's trying to ring me, don't know who it is. Defended by Wokes out to cover, and there's no run. 1 ball left, and then Fred will be back on to do some ball by ball with Jono and Hendo.
Atlas has tweeted in, I've been in Spain for 25 years. The UK is ever more alien to me.
Well, yeah. It's okay. It's not great. I'll say that. Azhar Ali is going to face up to Wokes. Last ball of the over, it's full. He defends it square out to point. They decide that there is no run. That's the end for me. Jono remains. Nestlers will be disappearing too. Fred and Henry will be joining you.
I'll just read out the one last tweet from Grubby. He says, quite possible now that Jimmy finishes his Test career on 598 wickets. And on that bombshell,
it's a worry. Hendo's back with us, I believe, although he's not got his headphones in yet.
Hello, everyone.
I'm not Fred.
How are you, Jono? Congratulations on your bit of business you've done today.
Very kind. Looking forward to a long and successful partnership with Guerrilla Cricket, something that we'll announce in the next few days, no doubt.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a team that plays in the town of Woodstock in Oxfordshire, then I can send you some details. Hello, Hendo. Is everything working?
Mostly. Parts of my body aren't, but apart from that.
Well, we'll go through them one by one shortly. And Tom Bess, who you may see a slight difference in the commentary from the last stint that was done, because I quite enjoyed Tom Bess's bowling. He's up to the wicket and bowls, and yeah, it's exactly the right place to bowl it. Just outside the off stump, Abby jabs at it and it goes down on the bounce to slip.
Been a lot of talk on Sky about how his length, he struggles with his length. I think it's actually with his line that he struggles more than anything. Often too straight, really. He needs to get it up and outside off stump a bit more regularly.
I think what they ignore when they talk about his length is this is a sweep from outside the off stump by Abid. It's the first shot of attacking intent we've seen for a while, but it goes pretty slowly to the man at backward square leg, no run. They often ignore how far forward the batsman or how far back they are. So, good batsmen, very good batsmen against spin, make you look like you're bowling short by going a long way back, as this is very full and is driven towards extra cover. There is a short extra who feels it, no run. Likewise, if you don't even have to take steps down the wicket. If you get a big stride in, you can make a ball look fuller than it actually is, if that makes any sense. Abid faces up to Bess again, and he's in now, past the umpire. Illingworth bowls on a good line just outside the off stump and defended respectably by Abid. 61 for 1. They still need 249 runs to go past England's total and make them bat again. And this match is all very dependent on whether the weather lives up to or lives down to its forecast for tomorrow. This is Fuller from Bess on off stump and driven to extra cover, no run.
Yeah, one thing that's been identified about Bess is he doesn't get any drift, or doesn't appear to get much drift. So you don't have the situation as a right-handed batsman where the ball will be moving away from you ever so slightly and then come back into you. You can adjust more easily. That's what's being put forward by one or two proponents of spin bowling.
He bowls again, and this is sketchily and edgily played past second slip. There isn't a second slip, so the captain route has to go and fetch from first. It's a single to Abid. It's also the end of the over. 62 for 1 off 37. Let's have some social media messages.
There's Brian 001 says 9 runs scored. You can tell how exciting the cricket is when commentary ranges from Spanish real estate to best football goals. There can't be many decent football goals scored by Arsenal. That's the kind of thing I thought I was trying not to listen to earlier on. Not Fred almost running over Robert Pires in Hampstead. That was the thing that pricked my ears up the most, I think.
Do you not follow football then, Johnny?
I do, just not the Gunners. I'm a Manchester United man myself. I did grow up.
That's a bit
there,
strange because you've got a Manchester accent, not a Dorset one.
Or Surrey, of course.
Yeah, 62 for 1. There is sunlight at the ground now, but there's rain here in Sydenham. There's Wokes bowls, and this one dies outside the off stump, and a jabby sort of shot by Abid. The ball doesn't go anywhere. It just sort of bounces in front of him and dies. The ball is definitely keeping low, but it's so slow that the batsmen are having all the time in the world to adjust their shots as necessary and defend their wickets.
Yeah, just even jabbing down, isn't it? Quite often that's all you have to do really when the ball keeps low. I mean, if it comes through and does that quickly, then you're in all sorts of trouble from being bowled on LBW.
As Wokes bowls again, a shorter ball, which is turned reasonably comfortably around the corner to long leg by Abid for a single.
I don't think that's a bad idea from Wokes to try and jab Abid Ali in the ribs a few times. I know it's not his natural game or his natural delivery, but I thought when Jimmy Anderson aimed a few bounces at him earlier, again, not really Jimmy Anderson's forte, but he did hurry him in that position. He didn't look comfortable, and I'd like to see a short leg, maybe a backward short leg as well, and that focused on for a little while. By these bowlers that you wouldn't expect to do that. I think that,
or we could use the bowler that they would expect to do that.
Well, you could.
As Wokes is in again, good ball on off stump, defended back to him by Azhar. I mean, they've got Archer, and a couple of times in this summer, England, when nothing has happened, have gone to bowling, peppering the Neil Wagler line, peppering short balls at leg stump and having a leg slip and a short leg, and seeing how the batsmen cope at it. And we've, they've had some stick for that. But if ever there was a time for that, I think, this might be it. Through a cloud of smoke, Jono's going to give his opinion later. This is on leg stump, and it's timed very sweetly through wideish mid-on by Azhar. I'm not sure if he's got enough legs to get to the boundary. Question is whether the ball gets there slower than Bracey. But the ball wins, and I've just remembered that I am on jingles.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Should be seamless when the same person's doing ball by ball and jingles, but they do have to remember.
I take your point. Sorry, Jono, you go.
We're just talking just before you guys came back on about field placings and whether England are being aggressive enough. Now, with the weather tomorrow, they need to really start attacking to have any hope of winning this game.
Yep.
Wokes in again, and this may have moved away slightly because it's a thick outside edge from Azhar to backward point for a single, but all along the ground. I don't know that it would be a successful line of attack, but it's worth a go. Hendo?
Well, yeah, but the reason I was talking about Wokes, actually Wokes did try it in the last test, not very successfly for a very brief period, but Jimmy Anderson, who you don't really expect him to do that, I think it in a way more difficult for Abid Ali especially to deal with him necessarily than Archer.
This is a straighter ball from Wokes, which is played into the leg side by Abid at the end of the over. It's 67 for 1. I think it's worth a go because somebody noted earlier that if you get in on this wicket, it can be quite difficult to prize you out. But when you start your innings, any batsman is going to find some difficulty. So you just need to open up one end, and then you've got something to work with.
Yeah, and it's a very difficult decision for Root to make. I mean, sometimes I think he's too predictable in going for Anderson and Broad to start off the innings. I mean, you don't want to waste any shine on the ball, but I sometimes think the shine comes after 4 or 5 overs, the swing comes after 4 or 5 overs when a little bit of the other side of the ball has got scuffed up a tiny bit.
But the best captains are constantly probing.
Well, yes, but let me come back to that after this ball.
Best bowls and a little lap. He went down early, did Abid, and he's clipped this over his shoulder down towards fine leg. Archer's got a long run, but he's got long legs, so he pulls it in about 5 yards short, but they do manage to complete 3 runs, and Butler has just dropped a simple return.
I just think with it obviously because of their success, their massive success, England and Root feel they need to go to Broad and Anderson each time, but I would like to see Archer given a really hard new ball to go at 1 or 2 people and just see what he can do.
And Wokes as well has had success with the new ball when he's been given the opportunity. In fact, Broad is often better with the second new ball than he was with the first, as best balls to Azhar, competently met by the Pakistani captain, plays to short mid-wicket, no run.
If I disappear for any reason unexpectedly, I think the apocalypse may have just arrived in Surbiton.
Well, I have to say Surbiton won't be missed.
I've lost my satellite signal, so it's up to you, Fred.
I'll do everything.
Maybe Jono.
onto the back foot goes Azza, turns this one a straight ball into the leg side. If he would have missed it, he would have been the plumbest of plum LBWs, but he probably would have reviewed anyway. But none of that happened because he got the bat on it. Can you read the tweets, Jono?
Yes. Let me just see.
Well, wait a sec as Bess comes into bowl, floated outside the off stump, driven to extra by Azza. Comfortably fielded by Sibley. Forgotten about Sibley. He's there. No run. 2 balls left of the over, and then we'll have some of your tweets and other messages. In comes Bess again. And onto the... Well, he plays forward from the crease to Azza and pushes it back to the bowler. For a brief moment, Bess thought that had beaten the bat, but it hadn't. And 1 ball left of Bess's 7th over. He has none for 9. He's not going for any runs, but he's not causing all that much difficulty to the batsman at the moment. He's in again and he bowls on the leg stump, tickle round the corner. I think that was bat. It's going pretty quickly down to fine leg, and it's going to cross the boundary now.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
Very fine tickle. I'm not going to say it was technically a chance, but Butler didn't get to it. So, talk us through some tweets, please, Jono.
Mark Zip says, I'll admit, I wonder which Woodstock cricket Jono was talking about. I live in Woodstock and don't know of any cricket around here, but yes, Woodstock, Oxfordshire makes more sense than Woodstock, New York. The business was named after the festival because my old business partner, John, was a big fan. So 2 of our bat lines, one's called the Festival and one's called the Airstream, after the very famous silver caravans that were obviously prominent at the time. Grubby says, no Gavin Hamilton, Ian Blackwell or James Whittaker. That was replying to Dave Emrys, an earlier tweet that I must have missed. Wobble Seam, Bess is such a fine spinner, England will be well advised to just let him be. If Root can use him more as an attacking option, it is confidence a world of good. Right now he seems to be playing a holding role all the time.
We've got to change your bowling. And let me jingle up the person in question.
What would make Broad walk?
If his stumps were knocked down,
What would make Broad walk?
caught 5 feet off the ground.
What would make Broad walk?
If he trod on his
What would
stumps,
make Broad walk?
if God was one of the
What
arms,
would make Broad walk?
Broad walk.
What broad?
Maybe we are going to see this bodyline bowling from around the wicket to Abid. There's a discussion between Anderson and Broad and Archer. And let's see what they come up with. So far he's bowled 7 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 19. Got the 1 wicket to fall when Shan Masood padded up to 1, which was clipping the outside of leg stump in the opinion of both the umpire and of the Hawkeye tracking. It looks like he is going to be bowling round the wicket. Or maybe that's just the angle. Yes, he is. And guess what? We've got a wideish leg slip and we've got a short leg who's not very short. So I'm either taking credit for that decision or Joe Root's as shit a captain as I am. Each of 2. Oh, and Hendo's disappeared. Sorry, Hendo. We quite liked him, didn't we?
I did. I enjoyed doing commentary. I'm convinced he tried to avoid me. He started to claim kind of lack of internet and all sorts.
Yeah. No, he really doesn't like you. Yeah. So the leg side field is interesting because we've got as I said, we've got a leg slip who's sort of, third slip on the leg side. We've got a short leg who's not very short, and we've now got a mid-wicket who's standing behind the forward short leg, and we've got a sort of a wideish mid-on who's also quite short. So Broad is going to be peppering the short balls, I would have thought. It wouldn't have been my first go-to guy, perhaps Archer, but let's see what Broad can do as he bowls. Short ball, which is turned round the corner between the wicketkeeper and the leg slip, and down to the boundary for one of these.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you very much, says Abid. What do you think?
I think when you telegraph it, and it's so obvious what you're going to bowl, I'd just love to see someone bowl the back of the hand slower ball first up and just see what happens.
Loopy Yorker.
Yeah.
Whilst they're on the back foot. Maybe. But
The great man's back with us. I said great, not grey. I said great, not grey.
I can see Hendo. Where's the great man?
Oh.
Broad bowls. It's short, and Abid ducks underneath it. Unless I tell you otherwise, I think it's going to be short. So we're not going to go back to Ditch's ping and pong that we had from years ago from the UAE for a ball that was I can't remember what it was, but ask Mr. Ditch if you see him what his signals were for when the period of play when not a lot was going on. We've got a forward short leg and we've got a square leg who's virtually standing behind him. This is very strange fielding. The umpire's gone over to umpire at point so he can actually see what's going on, doesn't have to look through two people's arses for the crease. As broad bowls short, back into his crease goes Abid, plays it comfortably onto the ground. It was 83 miles an hour. You see, if that was 91 miles an hour, it would be a different proposition for Abid.
I think it's also about the fact that the pitch has got slower and flatter and lower. In fact, I mean it is hard to get it up there around the chin.
There's a very interesting tweet about that exact point when we next come to him, Hendo.
Okay.
Well brought up.
As Stuart Broad bowls again, it's short, and Abid ducks underneath it. Butler takes. Go ahead, Jono.
So Messi Jersey sent this in. So the CricViz analyst, the pitch is getting flatter. PitchViz metric measures the difficulty of conditions for batting. The higher the number, the harder the conditions. In this test, it was day 1, 5.8 out of 10, day 2, 5.0, day 3, 4.8, day 4, 4.4. It's an absolute featherbed.
Yeah, it depends how much those numbers mean in terms of differences from one to the other.
Next ball is shorter outside the leg stump, and Abid has nothing to do with it. So one ball left. I'm keeping an eye on. Wicket's just fallen at Glamorgan. Quite astonishing. A partnership for the 9th wicket of 168 between Marchant de Lange and D.A. Douthwaite, who made 86 off 92 balls, and de Lange, who has 108 off 66 balls with 6 fours and 9 sixes.
Ooh, sounds fun.
I think in the first innings in that match there was possibly a 100th partnership for the 10th wicket, so you've never got Glamorgan down and out until you've taken the 10th wicket.
And of course, wasn't it Somerset who wasn't it Jamie Overton who smashed 100 last week at number 10?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Broad over the wicket now to Abid, with his bizarre leg side field. It's defended into the offside. Not quite sure what's going on, but at the end of the over, 78 for 1.
A point about this bizarre leg side field is I wonder about Joe Root and his funky fields. Grubby was making a perfectly decent point when Best was bowling a little earlier about the possibility of bringing a man into silly mid-off or silly point. And I think that is a good position. We don't see it very often, but it's one that's in the eye line of the batsman. It may force him further back. It may make it more likely that you can get him LBW because he's afraid of pushing too far out in front of himself. And I wonder why we don't go to an old-fashioned field like that, in a sense, rather than this funky field to Stuart Broad when he's bowling round the wicket. It's almost as if he can only do one thing, one extreme or the other, Joe Root. He can't actually think in a more nuanced sense.
Well, in some respects, it's quite easy to be a captain in this situation. There's absolutely no pressure on him as far as losing the game is concerned. He can be as funky as he likes. He can change things as often as he likes, and just keep fiddling until something comes off. Best back into bowl to Azza, and he defends the square of the offside. No run.
No, I agree with you, Fred. That's absolutely true. But I just wonder, when you had that opportunity and you've got Bess out there, and you're obviously looking for an inside edge onto pad onto the onside. Why you don't put another guy in his eye line?
It's a thought, especially as he's driving some outside the off stump, as this one is shoveled towards mid-on. No run. If he's floated one up outside the off stump, both these batsmen have shown the propensity to drive, and if there is a silly mid off there, he might get hit, but he might also catch one, as this is defended again by Azhar. The trouble is, these batsmen are very good at facing spin bowlers on slow decks because they've been doing it a lot of their career, mostly in the UAE. So it would have to be some particularly good bowling on a not very helpful track to get them to make the mistake, but it can happen. It doesn't. It's only going to happen if you try, as this one is a defensive shot by Azza again.
This is basically Dubai on the first day.
Yeah.
To some extent, what we have here.
Yeah.
Which would make it...
I'd rather be in Southampton, actually.
It'd be... I'll come back to this.
Bess again, and easily defended by Azza to short leg. One ball left of the over. And then you'll hear the thoughts of Chairman Hendo, which will be published in a little red book and will be mandatory for all members of the guerrilla party as Bess bowls. Defended slightly edgily by Azza into a gap on the offside. They take a single. The end of the 41st over, 79 for 1. Hendo.
Yeah, I just think if you just have a look at it for a few balls to see if it does make any difference to the way that the batsman plays. I mean, that one he squeezed out on the offside, getting right forward. Maybe he wouldn't get as far forward as that. Maybe he would pop one up. Maybe the ball that goes on rather than turns as he expects will find the edge. I just think, as you say, when there's still 231 runs from making England bat again, it's worth trying a few of these things.
It's all about. I mean, you've got to find someone brave enough to stand there.
He's not that brave. I mean,
I always felt. I mean, if you fielded short at all in your even just your club cricket career, I always found being on the offside less dangerous than being on the onside.
Absolutely, because you get much more advance of a ball possibly coming your way.
Yeah.
What you seem to anyway.
Also,
Yeah,
you often get more bottom hand in those shots that go into the onside. It's often hit harder than a ball into the offside.
Well, the leg slip has gone, and he's gone to backward square leg as Broad maintains his round the wicket attack, this time to Azza. It's not very short, and he defends it to mid wicket. This is a bit odd because I mean, at this point, not to channel my inner Gary, but why are there any boundary fielders at all?
Well, I suppose the miss hit. If you have people in and you've got the short ball as an option
for the top edge hook, or
the miss hit hook, yeah. The Apocalypse has just hit south whim.
Well, Broad bowls, it's short, and Azza ducks underneath it.
I mean, that's very loopy bounce, isn't it? Where Broady is trying to stick that one really in short, and it's coming off so slowly and so loopily that it really isn't. It's not just.
Although the speed gun's
dangerous in getting you out.
It's not.
It's harmless, really.
That said 88. It was never 88 miles an hour.
Well, Archer had one before where he bowled 88 mile an hour short one, and it bounced before it got to Butler.
But Michael Vaughan did admit to cheating with the speed gun in 2005.
We have got a fly slip, by the way.
As this is a fuller ball on leg stump, which Azza easily defends. Have we? Or we've got for the uppercut or for a run?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. That's the other. Get yourself out of a short ball situation, isn't it? It's either the hook or the pull, or it's the uppercut.
I used to play for a captain who liked the fly slip position because once he put somebody there and once they caught it, and for the next 10 years people had to go and field in this completely nonsensical position.
A bit like the on Hayden, really.
Yeah. No, Michael Vaughan said that they put up the speed gun for the England bowlers to put the wind under the Aussies, as this is close to the hip of Azza, who takes the bat away. Butler goes up for a caught behind, and Broad is looking at him as if to say, do you really think he got a nick on that? It'll be down to Butler's word. And they are not going to review it. There's 1 second left. No Kohli heroics from Root, so no review. It was a shorter ball on his hip. He lifted the bat out of the way a little bit late. No, if it flicked anything, it
brushed
flicked
his shirt.
Yeah. Butler's just so delighted to take a ball cleanly, he decided to appeal.
Yeah, that was the right one not to review, I think. Yeah, it is. It's the shirt where the chest guard is, really, isn't it?
It's not really a chest guard. It's sort of it's above your hip.
Yeah, I've thought about that actually. I noticed Chris Woke seemed to be wearing it quite low down. It's maybe
he's got a low chest
guard,
like Anne Widdecombe. This one goes past the outside edge of the off stump, and that may have moved away, but Azza played at it, missed, and Butler sprawled to his right, took the take.
That was a good ball, that actually. Just suddenly spray it across him. Decent length delivery.
Had he got a nick, there's no slips.
Well, yeah, that's true, I suppose. Yeah, and you'd be wondering about the fly slip then, wouldn't you?
Yeah. You know,
But the
just
way
go
he's
completely
playing,
mad and throw everybody round the bat when Bess is bowling as if you need one wicket. Just see what
Yes,
happens.
I
Why
know.
not? Round the wicket again. Ducks underneath one, which is not that quick. 82 miles an hour. The end of a fairly pedestrian over from Broad. I'd like to see Archer having a go at this. But do we have any tweets? What do our listeners have to say?
Plenty, yeah. Peter Watson talking about Spain says, ex-Sydney, 20 years in Joburg, Spain would be a good move for us next, if only the Rand could buy any Euros. Which is pretty true. Messi Jez, baiting me, I'm guessing. Why would the Apocalypse even bother with Surbiton? Nothing else. Very good. He then follows up with, why the fuck would you bowl Broad without a first slip, especially with Butler as keeper?
What, you might catch the rebounds, is that what you say? Yeah, it's well, you know, I don't mind trying things. I have no objection to trying things. In fact, if you wind back, you'll feel I was calling for something very similar to this a few overs ago, but I'm not sure Broad is the best man to do it. Best starts a new over with a more regulation field of a slip and a short leg, and Abid Ali defends. So we're going well under 2 runs and over now, and the deficit is still 231. There is a full day's play tomorrow scheduled, but the weather suggests that may not all take place. Well, Abid went down to try and lap that, and then changed his mind quite late and had his bat outside the off stump where the ball was, but the two did not make contact.
Do you remember Misbah al-Haq doing that very well 2 or 3 years ago in the UAE? Maybe a bit more than that when we were covering games.
Actually, I didn't. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, Misbah al-Haq played that going for the slap and then trying to
late cut.
Yeah,
this one does turn, and Abid plays it round the corner to backward square leg, no run. Yeah, he went to lap it, and then at the last moment decided to late cut it and missed everything.
But he made it look good, whereas Abid Ali just looked fairly inept.
Well, just a crumb of comfort from Best, but that was more to do with the batsman's work, as the next ball's full outside the off stump and defended. A lot of defending going on. Was it Rizwan who, after yesterday's play, said, yes, if we can get a lead, we can put some pressure on England? I think
did he?
That's gone right out of the window. Somebody said it, and they got the thumbs up from Atif Nawaz, who is some joker who's turned up on the BBC, as the next ball is shovelled into the leg side by Abid onto the ground, and then into Bracey, who's the sacrificial lamb at short leg. Hit into the ground and then caught. He got a hand to it. That's reasonably good fielding there at short leg. Good reactions. And it was on the bounce. Best to complete his over to Abid Ali. A little bit shorter. Shovels it into the leg side again. Beats the short leg. Goes out to a deep mid wicket. They take the single. The end of the 43rd over. 84-1. Tweets, please.
Grubby's been in. He's given us his Woodstock 11. Opening the batting, we've got Janice Joplin and Sly Stone. Jimmy Hendricks at 3. Santana following him at 4. Ravi Shankar at 5 as captain. Juan Bez at 6. Roger Daltrey keeping at 7. Arlo Guthrie at 8. Joe Cocker 9. David Crosby 10. And Robbie Robertson 11.
Oh, a bit harsh on Robbie Robertson. Yeah, well, he's providing you with free promotional material. I don't think you should complain about that, Jono. Something for you to work with. What are we seeing pictures of on Sky? I have no idea.
We're seeing Wokes from opposite ends, as it were. Seeing him from behind and from the front.
Well, considering Broad and Bess are bowling, I'm not sure what the significance is. Oh, Leach is on the field. Do you remember Leach? He was that guy with the glasses, that funny bloke from last year. I think he won New Faces in 2019 and hasn't never been seen again.
Considering what he did for England, he's had a terrible last 8 months, hasn't he?
Broad round the wicket to Abid, well outside leg stump. No run.
He got very ill, didn't he, in South Africa? And I think I think he would have played in South Africa, but that's obviously given Bess his chance, and now Bess has almost become the first pick as a spinner. You know, even though Leach has been carrying drinks for the summer.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it. It's as if Leach has been given no cricket whatsoever.
Michael, sorry to interrupt.
why not let Somerset have the advantage of having Jack Leach if you've got no intention of playing him?
Because you need people in the bubble. If Best steps on a ball before the game, a la Glenn McGrath, you're going to need somebody to play, aren't you? And they have to be in the bubble.
In the team anyway, though, wouldn't they?
Michael Gough had a long chat with Broad after that last delivery. This one is short, outside the leg stump. Well, sorry. And Abid ducks underneath it. I'm wondering whether that was about repeated short pitch bowling aimed at the body. It's not really causing the batsman much difficulty, but there are laws against it. Maybe Gough has reminded the bowler of that. I don't know. How does Wagner get away with it?
Or is he running in his follow-through in front of the stumps at the non-striker's end? Is he in that danger area?
Could be, and we'll have a look. Well, there's one other possibility that I could come up with, as Broad is in again. Full of ball, and it's chipped in the air, close to the short leg. I'm not sure how far away Bracey was from that, but that's the closest resemblance to a chance in about the last half an hour. Broad doesn't look that bothered, so perhaps it wasn't that close. The other option I was going to say was, if you bowl balls which go wide down the leg side and repeatedly, then the umpires can wide you for those. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they were talking about the other day with regards to Asad Shafiq's bowling. I mean, he was bowling a lot of off breaks that were pitching more or less outside leg stump and turning further down the leg side, and they were pointing to that regulation.
Broad bowls again, shorter ball, straighter. Abid gets very low, which he has to do because he doesn't rise very high, but it takes.
Paul Harris was the one who I always remember just bowling that incredibly negative round the wicket left arm.
Yeah, because he couldn't bowl, could he?
Yeah, I mean, Asad Shafiq, I mean, although he ended up taking a couple of wickets, only got on because of the failures to some extent of the actual front line bowlers in the Pakistan team.
It's the great standby of England. They've called for the handcuffs. They're complaining that the ball is not round enough, but Michael Gough,
I think they've got a point.
Perfectly satisfied with it. Why bowlers do not like non-round balls, I don't know. They should like them square, to be honest.
I'm curious about that. I mean, it goes through one of the holes, but it doesn't go through the other holes.
It's
so
supposed
does it have
to
to fail both holes?
Yes. No, it has to fail one hole.
Well, it did.
No, it doesn't have to go through both of them. It mustn't go through one, and it must go through the other. Next ball's full outside the off stump, push back to the bowler. It has to be not wide enough to go through one, and not narrow enough to go through the other. It's supposed to. They're not the same size, the handcuffs. I'm not a handcuff expert. We should get Ben Stokes in to talk about it.
I'd be very worried if you were.
Or Harry Maguire.
Oh, what's the story on that? Is he still locked up?
No, he's back, isn't he? He's back.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. They left his lawyer to, or a lawyer.
£80 million bail. Full on leg stump and chipped in the air between the forward short leg and the leg slip. In fact, almost entirely square, where there is a fielder not catching but saving one. No run. End of the over, 80 for 1. Haven't played a jingle for about 6 months.
A lot of discussion about Don Bess, and a lot of comparisons. Obviously, having Shane Warne back with the Sky commentary team about the difference between his action and Nathan Lyon's, and I think what he isn't yet doing. I saw some comparison the other day, and they were saying Lyon bowls slightly fuller but slightly wider. And they reckon that Bess is still bowling a little bit too straight. And so he's probably not hitting the footmarks here that have been created by Afridi, because he's not bowling wide enough. So I think they want him to bowl a little bit wider to maybe get more grip and try and beat people through the gate. But I think he's still very young and still learning, isn't he? But I think that was the comparison between him and Lyon, and probably why they think Lyon's more successful.
Well, we're talking about Lyon when he's 10 years plus into his career, full ball on off stump and driven back to the bowler, whereas Bess is, what is he, 22, 23? He's got a lot of learning to do.
Absolutely, I 100% agree with that.
Whereas I don't remember Lyon as a youngster. Imagine
he didn't really get in the team as a youngster, did he? He was already sort of
when he's been playing.
Yeah,
a little bit shorter, and this just jab square by Azza. The slip has to chase that down, so a rare single. The weather's fine here in Sydenham. I don't know what your Well, I can see blue sky, but I can also see some rain.
It's raining here. It's raining here. Completely cloudy. Not a break in the sky.
So Abid is on strike now. So there's some discussion about the field. What about Bess coming round the wicket to the right-handers? Nothing as yet. That's hit him on the pad, but a big inside edge, huge inside edge there. There was some hands up from behind the stumps, but they may not have noticed the fact that hit more bat than pad almost.
Yeah,
he's middled it into his pad.
I don't even know why bowlers get excited by that sort of thing.
Well, he has sort of beaten him. It's a bit of a moral victory. So still only 2 fielders in the picture when there could be 8 as Best bowls, and this one doesn't turn. It's just nudged behind square. Again, Root has to collect from slip another single. 82 for 1.
He seems to have stopped using that rather round arm delivery that he was working on earlier in the year, and certainly at the beginning of this summer when we started to get some Test cricket against the West Indies. He just seems to have either forgotten about that, thought it wasn't a particularly effective ball. I'm not sure. I quite liked it.
Well, he bowls again. This is flighted. It's half volley outside off stump, and it's just pushed out to, well, the man who's obviously fielding at deep point, which one wonders.
Makes no sense, does it?
What is the point of having a deep point? You're not going to get a catch out there under any
I mean,
circumstances.
all it does is make the bowlers' figures look more respectable.
Respectable?
Or even respectable.
No, it's Jack Leach that's the respectable one. As Best bowls, a bit more of an aggressive drive by Azza. It goes up to mid on the end of a pretty ordinary over from Best. 84 for 1 off 45 overs.
Not getting anything through on their tweets. It's all going a bit quiet.
I've lost my satellite signal again. So it's not a very helpful afternoon. I'm going to try and see if I can get it back. But
God, when's the next change? I haven't checked your rotors.
In about 3 minutes' time.
Right.
So
who's coming
Jono
on?
will be taking over on ball by ball, I believe.
I will.
And
Right.
the Bear and Nestlers will be returning.
Excellent. So still 226 runs away from making England bat again Pakistan, which for one reason or another is unlikely to happen. But this is why we watch live sport. You never know. Broad is going to continue with his round the wicket attack on Abid Ali, and he's having a chat with Archer as if to say, how do you bowl at 90 miles an hour? Because this could come in handy at the minute. Archer's refusing to tell him, presumably. Let's have a look at this field. There are no slips, that I can guarantee you. So nobody to catch Butler's rebounds. This is going to be... Oh no, he's over the wicket now with no slip, and he's attacking leg stump from over the wicket. Well, that was down the leg side, and Abid left it. Now what about this attack? He's going to be bowling short body line bowling from over the wicket, do we think? Well, you can't see.
He might be.
So without a slip, so if he bowls one in the channel and he nicks one, how could you not afford a slip at this position, at this point of the game?
Oh no, it's bizarre captain.
How do you absolutely need to have fielders in positions that aren't slip? As Broad bowls again, it's a full ball on off stump, and it's driven back to the bowler, who thinks about shying back the stumps and then just rolls it to Butler. Don't know why. Maybe he's trying to get the ball changed.
I got a feeling he was just saying to the umpire that he wants to come round the wicket again. It'd be interesting to see if he does.
Well, I don't mind doing that. Round the wicket, over the wicket, round the wicket. Just keep changing stuff up. It doesn't do any harm.
Every other ball, why not? I mean, it's something guaranteed to annoy the batsman. You've got to try and think really of what sort of weird antics would upset batsmen.
Wait, an over from Sibley would annoy batsmen. He is coming round the wicket with his, and then he bowls a full ball outside off stump, which is driven back to him.
Well, he's doing the bluff, isn't he? He's got the men for the catch, the ball that comes up into the ribs, and then he's trying to defeat him with the Yorker, but he just hasn't bowled the Yorker particularly well the last 2 balls.
I was discussing this about this Steve Smith nonsense from last summer, when he's taking He's shuffling across and getting well outside off stump to everything. Why just have all the fast bowlers bowling from round the wicket and just bowling at the base of leg stump all the time?
Yeah, I think you've got to, I think it's about when you have a plan, you've got to stick to it for a little while. You see England do that, and then maybe Smith plays a couple of good shots, and they think, oh, it's not working, and they give it up too quickly.
Glory be, he's coming over the wicket now, and we've got some slips coming in, and the short leg. The body line has been abandoned. The umpire at point is now going back to square leg, and we've got 2 slips, possibly a third slip. The short leg has come out. People are wandering around like Blenheim Park Cricket Club on a Sunday when Malcolm West's captaining. Hello, Malcolm, if you're listening. Hope you enjoyed yesterday's play. Your second ball duck and your 2 overs for 33.
That's just cruel. That's
horrific.
Cricket shaming. That's appalling. That's just
can't do that.
Look in the book. Look in the book. That's what happened.
Yeah, but didn't tell it. They could have been 2 really good overs, and he could have been really unlucky.
They're still looking for the ball as Broad bowls and regulation delivery on off stump and defended into the leg side by Abid Ali, who's about to face his 150th ball in this innings, which in the search for landmarks, forget about Jimmy's 600, we'll concentrate on Abid's 150, which he's going to face next time up. Let's see if he can survive it. Nothing's happening. Absolutely nothing is happening, and worse, nothing looks like happening in the near future.
This pitch looks as dead as Melbourne 2017-18. Do you remember?
Trent Bridge
when
2014
Steve Smith batted all day, basically.
Or Jimmy's 80 as there's a cutter, an off cutter from Broad. It was outside the off stump and it came back. And the batsman's having a look at that, saying, "What happened there?" Not entirely sure. Maybe it hit a pebble. Oh, it hit the footmarks possibly, and came back, but it started too wide. And Broad's got his thinking headband on. He's got 1 ball left of this over. Now, honestly, donkey drops in this situation is not the worst thing you could do, because batsmen hate them, don't they?
Yeah, but you unfortunately you won't see professional cricketers do that sort of thing, will you? It's beneath them, and I know what you're saying, Fred. You could try bowling from 25 yards or something.
No, you're not allowed to do that anymore, I don't think. The last ball of the over is outside the off stump, and it's left, and we're going to have a drinks break, which is the most exciting thing that's happened for ages. We're going to have a changeover. The Bears coming back. Good luck to him, and read some tweets, and we'll have the turnover.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. So Peter Lloyd says the ball can be replaced if it gets too small, so it goes through the small hoop or deforms so that there is a point where it is too wide to go through the big hoop. Every day is a school day. Gets some Grat says, been meaning to ask, what's the story of the gallery behind Jono? Does he have a model girlfriend who worked for Prada? I did some design work for them on their fragrance, the Puff Spray Tendre. Unfortunately, no. I mean, she's fit, the old wife, but yeah, she's not a model. That's some Lana Del Rey chewing a diamond. Because I mean, why wouldn't you? That's to make people think that we've got enough money to buy stuff like that. I think it's a photocopy, and that's the signed photo of Ian Botham that I told the wife cost me 50 quid at an auction, and it probably cost me about 600. But anyway.
You've just let that out of the bag now.
Don't tell her. Don't tell her.
I thought she was in a room listening.
She is. He's
going to get hit in the head in a second.
Yeah, or shot. Lovely to be back on with you, gentlemen. We can
Nothing's
talk
happening.
about anything other than cricket that you want to, because there is zero cricket of note to talk about.
Well, I just nearly lost my neighbour's cat.
You nearly lost your neighbour's cat?
Well, it just went on a mad run, which she doesn't normally do, and then disappeared under the deck, and then went. I was like, oh no!
Yeah, they can always get themselves out as long as it's not out of the garden, or is it not allowed out of the house?
Well, Nigel keeps her in too much, and I take her out and sit with her, and she's fine. But she just suddenly decides to go on an expedition just before I was due back on.
Aha.
And they can get in places that you can't get to.
Obviously.
So I was dismantling a hedge and just,
It's been raining so hard in Surbiton, so our dog, who loves water, was obviously dying for a wee. went to the door, looked at the rain, and thought, "Fuck that!" Even though I'm not going out. He loves
Pissed in the
water.
corner of the room. Yeah.
So you're getting this storm first.
Well, it's hit here now. South East
Turbo.
London has got it. There's a blue sky over there, but there's rain out the window. They must be having a drinks break again or something.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I think if they take a wicket, it's kind of weird, isn't it? I mean, surely if you're going to try the short pitch theory, leg theory, you're going to bring Archer on to do it, aren't you?
I just don't think that they've set the fields to take wickets.
No.
You know, the three of us were on before. I've had the same chat with Fred and Hendo. You know, why have we got a deep point to Don Best for any other reason than trying to protect his figures?
Yeah.
At this point, runs do not matter. We're not going to complete the test any other way than England taking 9 relatively quick wickets, but you need to set the field and set a plan on how to go about that, and they've just not done either.
I mean, it's still, what have we got, an hour and 40 minutes left. How many overs supposedly left in the day? 24. We need something to happen quick.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've got nowhere really. I mean, how many overs they have to get? 46 overs and they're on 84. So they're clearly happy doing that. And to be honest, you're right. I mean, we've not really made them play enough, have we? But when you do bowl straight, and they're very good at just clipping you away on the leg side. So the pitch. I mean, they were complaining about it on Sky. The pitch is very placid now.
Yeah. The Don Best will continue. None for 19 so far from his 10 overs bowled thus far in the second Pakistani innings. As Bear correctly says, 84 for 1 from 46, which is painful cricket.
And if anyone's going to bowl donkey drop, surely it's Don Best, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
give
who
it
else
fucking chuck it up there. Get it above the eye line. Take the pace off it.
Sidley's leggies. Rory Burns once took a fifer against Wimbledon first team, bowling little whiffy outswingers for Banstead. So he's always an option.
Well, there you go. In this situation, shit takes away. You get one, and then you get someone fast on bowling short, a new guy.
Yeah, well, as Bess in now to start his 11th, as I said, first ball, and that is a bit of drift, but covered up well by the Pakistani captain, who you would now think he's in reasonable form and seeing it like the sun.
Yeah, you'd have thought so, eh? A little bit of turn, wasn't there?
North Stand gang wants Root for a 10 over spell.
Ooh.
Bess in again now, slightly straight to that one, but the Pakistani captain just plonks his front leg down the outside the line of off stump and blocks it back up to a straight mid wicket for no run.
And they're also suggesting a Michael Goff to have a bowl, maybe.
Don Bess in again now to Pakistani captain, and he just sits on the back foot and works it away for the easiest of ones out to an advancing Mark Wood, who's obviously desperate to get involved in the test, but Dom Sibley doesn't even let it do that as he nicks it off him just before he goes to pick it up.
I don't think Woody would have liked it. I don't think Woody would have liked this track either, would he? I mean, it's just very. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? There were 3 tests at Southampton. 2 have been like this with a pitch like this, and the one in between that they didn't get to complete. It looked like a spicy, decent wicket.
Yeah. Best in now to Abid Ali, who again comes up outside the off stump, blocks that to the advancing cover fieldsman, and there will be no run. Just like, you know, it's hard for, you know, for as much as we all love cricket and love talking about cricket. I mean, this is a stretch for even us, right?
Yeah, totally. If you're at home, you just switch it off and go and do something else, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. I might have talked to the wife.
Yeah.
Best in now, 5th ball of the over, covered up by Abid Ali. I just got the filthiest of luck.
Wow. Yeah.
Not surprising. Did you want me to sing some Chaz and Dave to her?
Yeah, do you want Nestlers to sing again?
Butcher.
She's saying yes, but she doesn't mean it. How to complete his final ball of his over. That one's floated up outside the off stump and absolutely thrashed by Abid Ali, but straight to the short extra cover fielder, and that will be no run. 85 for 1 from 47.
I think your wife should come on the show. We're hearing so much about her.
Absolutely not. Claims to know all sorts about cricket. She'll call Joe Root like Joe Stokes. Jimmy Anderson will be like Stuart Anderson, and she loves Stevie Finn.
I'm expecting some bat to come across the screen any second.
No, she does. To be fair though, she's an Irish girl. She'd never watched cricket before we got together, and I think very quickly realised that she had to either get involved or not. And so it's had 6 years of pain of just me playing cricket and golf and talking about nothing but cricket and golf.
That was one thing I refused to give up when I got together with my wife too.
When she
met me, I played cricket every Saturday, and that wasn't going to change.
Absolutely.
Did you watch Dustin Johnson last night?
Oh my God, unbelievable, right?
What did he end up on?
He was 27, 29 under with 2 holes left when they went off the rain. So,
right,
29 in 4 rounds.
Yeah, and he was only 4 under for his first 18 holes.
Yeah.
Did I see someone got 12 under the other day?
Yeah, and right, so Johnson was 11 under through 11 holes and on for a 53, but made 60 because he just blew up. Well, it's hardly a blow up; it's still 11 under. But some other bloke, I forget his name.
Got
12 under. Sheffley, yeah, Steve or something. Yeah, got a 59. And so there's only been 8 in the history of the PGA Tour. There were almost 2 on the same day.
Crikey. That must
The PGA blew it.
Must be quite an easy course then, eh?
No.
Well, historically not. Anderson in now, should have jingled him up. Oh, and that's fended at by the Pakistani captain, but missed it through to the keeper for no run. We should play his jingle, but I think Bear might have lost his mouse.
Yes.
The cat's had it.
I've got it back, don't you worry. Let's have a jingle. I'm going to play the one I like. Here we go.
Jimmy was a local boy, but he seen much more than the change in the weather. Sitting in a uniform of a 3-piece suit and the ribbons from his past.
With Anderson in again now and blocked off the back foot by the Pakistan captain, there will be no run.
Do we know if Paul Weller has taken that band to court for plagiarising the Jam for that song?
Well,
it's a fucking such a rip-off. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's true.
Who is it?
The Rifles. I mean, they're even taking the piss out of the name, aren't they?
Eating Rifles,
Certainly.
Paul Weller ripped everyone else off.
Well, I was going to say,
Oh, shut up, you.
Anderson in now. Forced off the back foot through kind of a square point by the Pakistani captain, outfielded, I think, by Rory Burns, and they will come through. Oh no, James Bracey, and they will come through for 2.
And the Jam start is a rip-off of Taxman by George Harris. It's exactly the same. How did he not get sued?
Well, that's very true.
I mean, there are limited chords in music, so eventually someone's going to make a song that sounds vaguely like something else.
I mean, it happens all the time.
What's going on? Where's not
Freddie sitting in the studio with me off camera?
There's Anderson in again now, and that's just blocked more than comfortably by the Pakistani captain Azhar Ali, and that was out to the offside for no run. Pretty tough. I mean, it's getting tough to watch this, isn't it? They're trying to bowl with a bit of reverse swing. That's done a bit back into to Ali off the seam, but again, not enough to.
Well, I guess the strange thing will be is if they actually play tomorrow, because we're all expecting none, aren't we? It'll be a surprise to everybody, and maybe something strange will happen then. Presumably, it'll be dark and filthy.
Anderson in again now, full ball just blocked by the outside half of Azhar Ali's bat out into the offside. There will be no run.
Have they got a bit of reverse? Have they got a bit of reverse going here? The Sky Boys have been chatting about how they've been bowling a lot of cross seam into the pitch and trying to rough up one side.
Yeah, that looks like it's doing a bit more off the pitch though, rather than any reversing in the air. They need to find something and quick. As Anderson in again now, and that's just another full straight ball blocked out to the offside by the Pakistani captain again for no run, surprisingly enough.
Jimmy needs his 2 wickets.
The Jersey Jingler says get Butler on for a couple of overs. Crawley is so tall, surely he can bang him in. Just try something.
I think I remember watching Keaton Jennings bowl in Test matches, and he bowls like dobbers, doesn't he?
They probably all bowl dobbers, and they probably bowl reasonable dobbers. If they're in a club side, they'd probably be an all-rounder, wouldn't they?
Dobbers. Knackles come on. He says, "Is it written that all male club cricketers must end up complaining about their wives? I played for Brondesbury for a while and began to wonder why any of them got married at all if they disliked them as much as they claimed."
It's not. It's a
It's a thing.
It's a thing, isn't it?
It's like
let it be known.
It's the
wonderful lady.
Exactly. It's the freedom of a Saturday afternoon.
sit
Tell you
around
what,
the golf
when
club
you've got
after a round of
kids,
golf and
when
listen
you've
to
got
them.
kids, and you can quite happily say, "I'm going off to play cricket, and that's what I do." It's a free pass, I'm telling you.
As best in and covered up by Abid Ali at short extra cover for no run. I mean, the great thing about Lisa is she puts more money behind the bar at our cricket club than I do.
Oh, that's good.
She's
Irish.
Oh yeah,
Wow, yeah, that's true.
I've got a story about that in a minute.
Now, that one does turn and looks to force that off the front foot. Does Abid Ali and gets a thick inside edge for short mid wicket for no run. Joe Root appreciates his spinner's work.
The Cause supported the Stones years ago on some shows, and Keith Richards talked about the three girls drinking him under the table.
Wow. As best in again now, shorter, quicker, flatter one, and worked around the corner to short back of square.
See, that's a poor ball. I mean, that's never going to take a wicket. That's just a rank ball.
Unless he tries to wallop it and gets a tough head.
But then it'd be a question of shit takes wickets.
Oh yeah. That's best now in again to Abid Ali. Much better ball again this time, but easily covered up. There's that, where you normally see the footmarks and stuff. Just that bit of outside the right-handers off stump there looks like quite a fresh bit of wicket, so it's just not doing that much for him.
No, it's not rough enough, is it?
Best in again now, fifth ball of his 12th. Well flighted, but again well covered up. It's just, it's just like they're having a net, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe he should change ends.
Yeah. But you think that he would have been working from the end that opposite to where Afridi bowled from, as he bowled with a slightly quicker one, bit of dip, but again easily covered up by Abid Ali. 42 not out of 160 balls now. That he can't be enjoying it either.
No. Is that a light meter coming out? It bloody well is,
Save us, please.
Well, the thing is, we've got to go through this turgid shit tomorrow. I keep thinking they're just going to shake hands and it'll be over tonight because tomorrow's going to be a washout. But of course, I've got to come in and sit here and watch it all.
you
just
wait
for them to cool it off.
Nothing.
Goff has put the light meter straight in his pocket, but they're obviously considering the light. I think that obviously in this test they've tried their best to keep them out there for as long as they can, haven't they? But
yeah,
at what point does common sense dictate that this is just an absolute waste of time? Or can we get Jimmy? Come on, let's get Jimmy too.
Well, I guess everyone. This is my point. If they get played tomorrow and this isn't a dead test, that's just I guess do they get played tomorrow? They've been wrong with the weather before. It might not be as flooded overnight.
As England's saviour since 2003 approaches and into the Pakistani captain, who just blocks that back up the wicket off the back foot. Chris works at a straight short mid on. There will be no run.
Music news from Old Fart at Play. Some great music news this week, and that's Jim Bob from Carter the Unstoppable Sex Machine has a new album and has charted as 26 in the album charts. Fantastic album. Pop up, Jim Bob.
Oh, good man.
The only living boy in New Cross, amongst others.
Anderson in now and just worked out into the offside by the Pakistan captain for no run. Jimmy spewing about all those chances that went down yesterday. He could be done with his 600 quite easily by now, couldn't he?
Yeah, he could be. That ball doesn't look in too bad shape for 50 odd overs.
Just soft though, isn't it? A soft seam, soft pitch.
Yeah.
Incredibly difficult to work with as a bowler. As he's in again now, and that's slightly straighter and whipped away through square leg by Pakistan's captain. Well fielded by Don Bess. Restricts him to one, running around from a deep backward square. Good throw back into Butler. We can't even play boundary jingles, can we?
No, I haven't played one of them for fucking ages, mate.
Pirate Badshaw says, if you're not careful, I'll break out the World Health Organization Global Alcohol Monitor reports. It's not very edifying for Britain. And also, don't mention Jim Core again, because he's an anti-vax conspiracy theorist arsehole.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he was on a demonstration the other day. I saw it on the internet.
As Anderson in and just defended out to short extra cover by Abid Ali for, again, surprisingly, 0 runs.
I know it wasn't shown much on mainstream media, but did anyone see the hundreds of people outside Buckingham Palace the other day demonstrating against Prince Andrew?
No.
I'd never seen a demo outside Buckingham Palace
Well, of
against the
course,
royal family before.
BBC wouldn't be allowed to show that.
Well,
it'd be against the interest of the nation.
It's Anderson again now.
Oh, that's got to be close!
Yes! Michael Goff gets him! LB douche! Jimmy's saying, don't use all the fucking hot water, mate. Get the fuck out of here.
Nice. Finally, something happened. That seemed to keep a little bit low.
And they've reviewed it. Abid Ali has reviewed it on the advice of his captain. It may be going slightly down leg. But Jimmy,
I think
599 here. 599. I only need one more. England's saviour. Has he done it again? Bit of reverse.
Is it going to be missing? It's close. He does go right across. I don't think. No, he's definitely not going to need back.
Might be umpire's call. That's tight.
It's going to be very tight. He is on the crease, though. He is on the crease. He's quite a short man.
Missing. No, it's umpire's call.
It's umpire's call.
Oh, he's just clipping. He's got it. 599.
Oh my word! Well done, Jimmy. Let's give a jingle.
Another great umpire decision by Michael Goff. He's been sensational.
Well, what I like is that he's prepared to say that they're out.
Yeah, that's hitting the stumps. I don't think how much
exactly. It's hitting the stumps. Yeah, it might only be clipping, but I think that's going to hit the stumps, and therefore I'm giving it out. Rather than saying, it might be hitting the stumps, I'm not going to give it out. Which is the negative way to look at it.
Good umpire.
Was he a bowler?
Don't know. I was thinking about this earlier. I don't really know anything about his career as a
If he was a bowler, you can understand it. If he's a batsman,
must have played first class to obviously be an international umpire. But Abid Ali, after a long stint with the bat, boring us all after death, finally relieved of his position as he's sent back up for the shower. And Jimmy Anderson now, well, we just called for it, didn't we, gents? Let's get Jimmy to 600, so obviously we'll take full credit between the three of us. And so, finally something interesting to talk about.
And a new man at the crease, although it is Babra Azam.
Oh, yeah.
God. There's a jingle.
He doesn't, because he's a cricketer from Pakistan and he's a really good one. Thank you very much.
Right, so that will bring one of the finest batters in world cricket to the crease. I mean, it'd be great for Anderson to get Babra as his 600, wouldn't it?
It's something, it's someone who hasn't played for however many years.
And then obviously Brody will get Babra Azam for his 600, as they both got Brathwaite. 500, 500.
How many? Yeah.
What was that?
They both got Craig Brathwaite for their.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Obviously, whoever Jimmy gets for his 6th, will no doubt Brody will.
They'll have to wangle a series for Brody when he gets there. Yeah.
Anderson in now to Babra Azam, full ball, and that's just blocked back up the pitch pretty solidly, and there will be no run. Completes the 50th over. 88 for 2 in a one-day game. You're devastated with that score, aren't you?
Yeah.
Muttley's happy. Finally, he says, another wicket.
Something to talk about.
Rainband has just passed through Bournemouth. Jimmy better be quick, says Farong.
Farong's in Dhaka.
Yeah,
he's
got radar.
The rain radar.
In Bournemouth. I mean, that's how boring the cricket's been. Farong in Bangladesh. He's studying the weather in southern England. There's something to do.
Grubby says Armageddon has reached Tooting. Sky signal is out, but I did hear the beautiful sweary description of Jimmy's 599.
If we are on for Jimmy's 600th wicket, I mean he's picked up some pretty decent pretty decent wickets considered for his landmark ones. So number 300 Ross Taylor, number 400 Martin Guptill, and obviously number 500 was Craig Brathwaite. So he's not only got almost 599 wickets, he has taken a lot of top order wickets and some of the finest batsmen that have been around since. 2003 he came onto the scene, right?
Exactly.
He's playing for a hell of a long time, and
Well, I guess you don't get to 600 without taking lots of fine wickets, do you? That's the thing. Now this is what I like. New batsman out there. The only theory that may work is the short one, and they have finally gone back to the right man.
He will break your heart, break your heart. Hotter than lava, cooler than Bogart. In your face, at your stumps, on your toes, on your mum.
Was that done for us by Kanye West with his vocalising machine?
No, it's Men with Van.
As that man Jofra Archer in now round the wicket. And that's worked away fine, and it's fine. Oh no, it's not fine of fine leg, and they will just take one. Azhar Ali moves on to 22, bringing the new batsman to the crease, Babar Azam, onto strike, having faced only one ball. That's probably, in theory, worked out quite well for England. You'd say for Azam to get for Ali to get off strike. To let Jofra have a go at him.
Yeah, that's what they want, isn't it? New, but then I'd have the leg slip up for him. I mean, if you're going to go straight out from the word go and have short at him, you've got to have a leg slip.
I've just been told off by Hendo. I've jumped the gun on the on Jimmy's as Archer in again now round the wicket to Babar Azam, who ducks under that in a slightly weird way. But yeah, our imperious leader has bollocked me for going early on the.
Go back to sleep, Endo. Michael Goff was an opening bat.
Oh,
Michael
well, that's interesting that he's quite happy to give these LBWs. Maybe he thought he got away with a few in his lifetime, and he's giving something back to the bowling fraternity.
Maybe he's biased because he's English. Says
that was going to be my John Motson moment, and I've jumped the gun. I've got too early again.
Where were you when Jimmy got his 600th?
Archer again now, and Azam sways out of the way of this. I'm not sure whether the short one to Azam coming in is the right one. Surely your best opportunity before they come in and face the few is just to try and nick them off.
Well, quite possibly. I mean, I think you've got to mix it up a little bit, haven't you? Certainly, when they're new, even if the pitch is slow, exactly that, you get a slight bit of movement. You've got as good a chance of any as nicking them off. Sorry, I'm trying to find a bet to have, but it's disappeared. The fuckers at Bet 365 got rid of it.
Oh wow, that's an interesting passage of play. Short ball from Archer. Azam's tried to play the straight pull, gone back up the wicket to Archer, who's then flung it back at him. Missed the batsman, missed the stumps, and back through to Josh Butler, who somehow took it cleanly. It's a great pick-up from Archer, in fairness, one-handed.
It's almost his Roger Harper moment, but slightly in slower motion, and he didn't hit the stumps, and the guy wasn't out. But
well,
the same sort of thing.
The boys obviously want this, which is good to see. Is Archer in again now to Babar Azam, who again sways out the way of another short one. Wondering if he might go with the surprise knuckle ball for the last ball of the over. You heard it here first if it happens. But Hendo's just added to his thing, but I'm going to refuse to read that out until.
100th was good though.
The possible, 200th not so much, but anyway, we'll leave that alone for the time being. I refuse to be in more trouble with our glorious leader. As Archer in again round the wicket, and that's a very short, very wide one. Sam flails at it but misses it, and that's through to Josh Butler for no run. Anderson cap off. He's like, you are not taking the ball off me now when I only need one to go, and there's nothing else that's going to provide anybody with any kind of entertainment in this game. So yeah, caps off. Sorry, Skip. Oh, the light meter's out.
No, for fuck's sake, put it away.
What's he do? Oh, he looks like he's going to talk to the third umpire as well. Is Anderson looking like he's moving around the wicket, possibly, which I'm not sure about.
Here's an interesting stat from Subtle Knife. I believe Jimmy has 13 balls to become the fastest to 600.
Yeah.
He had something like 13 overs or something at the start of the day's play to become the fastest ever bowler. Not obviously he's the only seamer to get this many wickets, but yeah, he'd be the fastest ever to 600 wickets. So 13 deliveries from this point, is it?
Apparently so. 2 overs and 1 ball.
2 overs and 1 ball. Yeah. You'd imagine that would be tonight. As he's in now, and that's straight, but well covered up by the Pakistan captain Azhar Ali to a real more attacking feel now. Very short, straight, catching mid-on, catching mid-wicket. Short extra cover, I think, on the drive on the offside. This is the kind of field that we've been calling for between us all day. But it now seems to have been implemented by Joe Root. Anderson in again now, and that's another full ball. Azhar looks to maybe try and take a quick single, but decides against it, and there will be no run.
Azhar's like, I'm not going to be his wicket.
I don't know who's on next. I'm not on next.
Next up is not Fred Hendo and Nestlers.
Let commentary bingo commence.
At 6:25 is an exchange, though. We've got another 10 minutes, guys.
We might get. Okay, is Anderson in again now and full ball to Azhar Ali, who just blocks that into that straight mid-wicket region. And again, there will be no run.
Let him get it, Azhar. Go on.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing else.
Just give your wicket up.
Well, to be fair, if he was to get one of these two, that the only one you would then say that's not really as much caught would be his 200th, which again I'm not going to mention until it may present itself. And that's worked off his legs by Azhar Ali, well as Zach Crawley on the deep backward square leg boundary does the fielding. Good throw back into Josh Butler, and they come through for 1, bringing Babar back onto strike. None from 6 balls as it stands.
Exactly, you got a chance, haven't you? His first 15 balls, you'd hope. Well, it doesn't take a pro long to get his eye in, I suppose, but I think you'd have 15 balls at him to possibly make him force a mistake.
Well, it's written in the stars. Anderson in. Full ball to Babar Azam. Takes the outside half of the bat and down into that backward point region. But again, he will remain on strike as there is no run.
I'm a bit concerned there's only 1 slip, though.
I mean, that's a good nut to get him in the first innings. That's a really good nut. That's plenty of the pitch. Much harder ball. I just don't see this ball doing enough to really trouble him. But, I hope I am wrong. I would love to see Jimmy get to his 600th wicket, to end off the English summer in a nice way for him and for us watching. As he's in again now, and that's just a full ball that is easily blocked by Babar Azam.
It's like he's got ages there, doesn't he?
It looked like he had so much time.
Yeah.
Completes the 52nd. That's Pakistan at 90-2 as Michael Goff looks again at his light meter, and now it looks like he's going to have a chat with Richard Illingworth, and it may start to. Here comes the pushing around the electronic advertising boards to make way for the hover cover. Illingworth's on to his to the third man via his fluffy man, and it looks like they will be taking leave of absence from the field.
Leave of their senses.
Oh
no, Bess is making his jumper off.
Don Bessie's going to come on. So
Christ, we're in this situation again where Fred rightly said you can't bowl your best bowlers without going off. So you have to take the false choice of bowling what you don't want to bowl necessarily.
Yeah, but in this instance, it actually doesn't matter for England because they just want to bowl as many overs as possible to get the wickets, even if they're slow bowlers.
Sounds like Fred.
It is.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, he's
Sounds
still
like he's
sitting here with
he's
me.
in my head.
I'm watching Middlesex about to beat Sussex on my phone, and the bad light at Southampton. It's all happening.
Well, talking of Middlesex against Sussex, there'll be calls again for Ollie Robinson, who apparently has had a real good day with the ball again up at Radlett.
Well, not that good.
Well,
Right.
Azhar Ali has decided if he's facing Bess and there's going to be no pace whatsoever, then he is going to take his chest guard off. He has. He's
So
just
when you look at the light meter, that maybe now means that Jimmy can't bowl again tonight. Well, at what point does it become? Do they have a separate reading, you think, for spin and seam?
Well, no, but I mean, Fred made a point earlier in a test when England were forced to bowl 2 spinners.
Was he supposed to be on comms at the time?
He was at the time, yeah.
That's in now, full ball out. Forced through the kind of square cover region. It will be collected by Jofra, and they will come through for a easily run 2.
It should be either good enough to play or it's good enough to not play. Oh, it's not good enough to play.
I mean, if they stick Root on now with Bess, this just becomes a farce.
It does. It means
They
that
should
England,
just go off.
unless they take 8 wickets in 4 overs.
That raised a giggle from my wife. I think she thinks you're funny, Bear. God knows why.
That's because I am.
It's Bess in again now, and just driven back up the pitch to the bowler. Almost slight fumble, but will do no harm as they won't come through for 1.
Where in Ireland is she from?
Blarney.
Oh.
Just outside Cork.
The Blarney Stone.
He took me up to Blarney Castle the first time I went over there. I'll tell you that story in a second. There's Don Bess in again now and driven up, collected by Rory Burns, coming around from a straight catching mid-wicket. She took me up to Blarney Castle, and you know, obviously the Blarney Stone, and you got there and you pay them a ridiculous amount of money to kiss it.
And then get your photo taken.
Yeah, so I did all that. Paid him the money. As Bess in again now. Oh, slightly. That one does turn a little bit, but too short to cause any trouble. So I leaned back and kissed the Blarney Stone, and she's, you know, pissing herself laughing. I'm like, what's going on there? What's up with you? She said, oh, me and all my mates used to come up here and get drunk, and all the lads used to piss on that. Which I thought was fantastic. As Bess in again now, 5th ball of the over, and worked away by the Pakistan captain out through backward point, but they will take no run.
I'm a Mayo and Tipperary boy.
Say again, you are?
I am, yeah. Parents.
Tipperary.
Mayo and Tipperary.
Yeah, it's a beautiful part of the world, Ireland. Wonderful people, great hospitality. As Bess in again now, it looked like he pushed out the front of the hand a little bit, but that went to just forced back up the pitch to the bowler. Anderson doesn't look like he's going to be bowling again. He's called for his jumper, I think. So
it does indeed look like we're into this false situation again. This man's going to bowl.
His voice is high-pitched and ginger hair like a pit, but massive runs he has hit, so there's that. Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root, actually.
I got to play Ballybunion once when I was out there.
Well, the golf course.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Oh, stunning.
Yeah.
Best course I've ever played.
I went on a little golf tour with 7 of my mates. We do an annual thing, and we went over to a place called Fota Island, which is
I know.
Beautiful place. They've had the Irish Open there 3 or 4 times. Wonderful, like 5-star hotel, and you know, amazing golf facility.
Not Trump's place, no.
Say again?
Not Trump's place.
No. No, they've got Turnberry in Scotland. I don't think there is a Trump in.
Yeah, there's a Trump, and it's somewhere in the west coast of Ireland. There's a Trump place.
Oh, is there?
Is there?
Yeah.
If anyone ever says to you, you can play Ballybunion, and you can play it. It's not stop. You just say yes.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another place up there, right up in the north, called Rosa Penna as well, which is absolutely fantastic.
Waterville.
Say again.
Waterville's another great one.
Root in now around the wicket, and that's just thought about taking a one as it's forced out to extra cover, but they will take no run. I've got a friend of mine from the golf club where I play here. Is his uncle owns the Old Head.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I know. Mad.
Hell.
Yeah. Is rooting again now, and Baba Azam covers up, just blocks that back up the pitch for no run. Yeah, mate of mine, Matt Creeley from I play golf with at Malden. His uncle and his family own the Old Head. Yeah,
bloody hell.
He's supposed to be. I mean, I've not been lucky enough to go yet, but it's just unbelievable by all accounts. Rooting again now, shorter, just pitch on leg stump, but that's worked away through backward square leg, and they will come through for one. Baba Azam off the mark. Final.
That's a golfing island bucket list one. That is
Yeah.
Old Head.
Apparently, because of the sea damage, they have to rebuild. I think it's 4 greens every single year because of the damage over the winter. Rooting again now, and Azza Ali just blocks that back up the pitch.
Oh my God, we're getting weather interference even in South London now.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Wow.
It's terminal.
There's rooting again now. That's way outside there. The leg stump, and Azza Ali just pads up. No brother there.
I'm not sure I like this line that much.
Nah.
Oh, there we go. Oh, it's back. Well, this is the last ball of my spell, so I have to deal with it. Fred's coming back to replace me.
They're rooting again now, and that's just blocked to short leg by Azza Ali. We will take a leave of absence. Thank you all. I may be back, depending on weather later on. I will leave you with Nestlers and some sweets before our glorious leader joins him, and I think not Fred will be back, but I shall see you later on.
It's always a pleasure to watch Not Fred get into that black seat. It's one of the highlights of my day. And we will hand over to the man who splits opinion on guerrilla cricket to bring ball by ball. I was going to suggest, as was suggested by our tweeters, that we had some commentary roulette, commentary bingo, or whatever you want to call it, for Jimmy Anderson's 600th wicket. But now that we have spinners only, doesn't seem much point in that.
This is pointless.
Well, the only roulette is whether we're going to be able to see each ball, because the picture is breaking up dramatically here.
Is it?
Yeah,
well, you can always pass over to me. I'm all right at the moment.
Okay, I was going to hand you Anderson's overs to do, because you seem to enjoy milestones. I don't give a toss really, but it's irrelevant now, and my picture has gone. So talk away, Hendo.
My picture is here, so for as long as it lasts. Although there was a sudden downpour a moment ago, I'll bring you ball by ball. Bowling to Babar is Dominic Bess, and there's plenty of width there for him to just shovel this into the offside. Dominic Sibley goes to pick up the ball, and they run through for a very easy single. 94 for 2. We're into the 55th over of the day, so no great scoring rate here today, but it's all been about survival for Pakistan. In comes Bess again, bowls, and Azza is forward and just places his 86th delivery back to Dominic Bess himself, and there is no run. Chris Wokes is out on the boundary. He's got his hands in his pockets. He's not very interested either by the looks of things. Bess in again, bowls wide of the off stump, and he does induce a little bit of a false shot from Azza Ali there, who did try to just wristily push it away on the offside. It threatened to come back between bat and pad. He got an inside edge onto pad. It pops up now. The silly point that Grubby was calling for earlier might have been in business there. Anyway, Bess is in again, a much flatter ball, and forward comes Azza Ali in defence. 94 for 2. I can tell you that our men in Sydenham are out of the picture at the moment, because there's nothing coming through on Zoom from that feed. As Bess is in again, bowls. Oh, onto the back foot goes Azza Ali. Plays a quite nice shot, one that Root plays quite a lot. Sort of brush shot that sends it away towards third man. Root himself is after it, but round comes Jofra Archer to field on the boundary, and they get back for 3, I think.
Oh, we've got Richard Osman's House of Games on. No, it's gone.
Well, that's quite funny, actually. That'd probably be more entertaining than the cricket right now. The House of Games.
The picture came back for a split second. I saw the umpire's finger go up, but it was a replay. Unfortunately,
it was a replay. Yes, it was. Oh, if only we'd had the silly point there. Anyway, here comes Bess to complete the over. Bowls to Baba Azam. He goes back and clips one that keeps a little bit low through to the mid-wicket boundary, where Wokes takes his hands out of his pockets, runs in and does some fielding. That is the end of the over. It's 98 for 2. Any tweets, Nestlers?
Robbie's with us. Bradnam stranded on a career average of 99.94. Hanif Mohammed run out for 499. Jimmy Anderson stuck for eternity on 599.
People will remember that more than 600.
The Trump Resort in Ireland is Doonbeg. And Jersey Jingler says, Jesus, lads, the only thing more boring than golf is listening to people talking about golf. Leave it out.
Yeah, I kind of go along with that a little bit.
We're a broad church. Come on. We'll talk about anything. 10 minutes left, Mizzy Jez reckons, according to the rain
and
radar.
other places of worship. I've got pictures back, and Joe Root's bowling round the wicket. This is flicked off his pads by Barber to square leg, no run. Joe Root starting his second over. And he's got 3 men round the bat. More in fact than Bess had, as this is probably
it's curious,
mid wicket. You went on earlier, Hendo, and I was just saying, if you had 1 wicket to win and half an hour to get it, you'd have everyone round the bat. Why don't you have everyone round the bat now? This is a big loopy full toss outside the leg stump, and Barber doesn't take full toll. He gets it back to deep backward square, a single to him. Why can't you just have everybody round the bat in this situation?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily have everybody around the bat, but I would have 4 or 5, maybe even 6.
What's the downside?
Well, I mean, the thing about having everyone in is then that if he does try to play a more attacking shot.
Yeah, well, you don't mind him going an attacking shot. You
don't.
want him to try and hit it and get an edge. So,
well, he could get an edge, but he could also just loop out into the covers or something like that, and it would be worth having someone there.
But next ball is played to mid-wicket, no run, and Root is in for yet another ball, which is defended back to him. But, it might encourage him to do something that he wouldn't otherwise normally do. So that in itself is I'm not saying I'd want to field at short leg to Dunbess, certainly not to Joe Root. But, they're paid professionals. It's what they ought to be doing.
Certainly not to Joe Root bowling full tosses outside leg stump.
No. He's in it completely over. It's a full ball outside leg stump, and it's just turned out to cow corner for a single. The end of the over. Pakistan's 100 is up. It's 100 for 2. They still trail by 210.
I'm trying to remember if there's been a more pointless sort of session of cricket that I've watched with Guerrilla Cricket than this.
Oh, there has to have been. There has to have been.
Sherzo Dasgupta says, tuned into Guerrilla Cricket. Hello from DC. Listening to Jimmy take his 600th, but Root takes him off. Well, he hasn't actually. What's happened is because there's bad light, they're only allowed to bowl their spinners to stay on. Yep. So we've got Root and Bess at the moment.
And now it looks like they've decided that even the spinners, the spinning deliveries of Joe Root are too dangerous. So they're walking off the pitch. Either that or it's starting to rain. Yep, if you've ever faced up to Joe Root in this light, you know how dangerous it could be. Not to the batsman, but to people sitting in the crowd. There was a baseball crowd the other day where it's full of cardboard cutouts, the crowd, because people are paying like $50 to have their picture put in a seat. And a home run was hit, and this cardboard cutout just didn't react, and it smacked him straight in the head. I'm surprised they allowed it under health and safety regulations. Well, bad light has stopped playing. Normally we're quite annoyed about that, but in some respects this is a bit of a relief, because it was a bit of a turgid session of play. Will they come back?
Yeah, well, I mean, the only interest was whether Jimmy was going to get 600 wickets, wasn't it? And that's been taken away from us by the bad light. Now everything's been taken away from us. I don't want to be too pessimistic, but I usually am.
Yes, you do.
And I would suggest that might be the last Test cricket we see this year. Let's just reflect on that for a moment.
Well, okay. You don't want to be too pessimistic, but you're just going to give the most pessimistic possible reaction.
Well, I feel like I don't want it to go unnoticed. I want to be in communion with people when this happens, because it's so deeply upsetting for me.
Well, we've got tomorrow.
Yeah, but have you seen tomorrow?
That's what he means.
Have you seen tomorrow?
Well, they might get a couple of overs in. Jeff Perkins comes out with a classic. Why would you want to watch Richard Osman's House of Games when the cricket is pointless?
Oh.
He's here all week, folks. He's here all week.
Is he really?
Apparently. We can do something about that. Well, they've come off. Judging by what the skies look like, it's possible they might not come back on. And it does mean we're going to have to hang around. Oh, no, it doesn't. I can go and leave Bear here.
We do realise, of course, that if this is the final Test cricket we see of this beleaguered year, then the last sight was Joe Root bowling round on filth.
Yep, full tosses outside leg stump.
Yep. Yeah,
which is
that'll
a
be the
metaphor for
abiding
something.
memory, won't it?
No, it won't.
Will it not?
I'll ask you about it tomorrow, and you'll have forgotten it. The match summary: England 583 for 8 declared, Pakistan 273 all out, and in their second innings, following on, are 100 for 2, still 210 runs behind. We've come off for bad light, and the chances of them coming back tonight, I would have to say, are minimal. But we may have to stick around for another half an hour or so. Actually, what time was the official end of play? Was it 7 or 7:30?
7 o'clock, yeah.
7 o'clock. So there is absolutely no chance of them coming back. Do we want to wrap it up, run through some final tweets, do you think?
Well, Ralph the Wonder Llama says, right, I'm off to stick some pins in my eyes. Thanks, folks. Gorilla cricket as ever. Peter Lloyd asks, when they have everyone round the bat, isn't it normally for a tail ender?
Well, yes, but that was the point we were making. Why not try something a bit different?
Well, no, if you had a front order batsman who was with a tail ender, you'd still have everybody round the bat for him in the last over when you needed a wicket.
Mezzy Jez says, despite the fact that it's likely to piss down tomorrow, you can still get $1.33 on the draw.
Yeah, but you have to put $1,000 on to get that $1.33.
Muttley says, thanks for the coverage. Are there any ODIs left?
Yes. There are 3 ODIs. I've just sent out a reply to that, basically to say there are 3 ODIs against the Australian team that's probably flew over this morning. I think would have arrived in the East Midlands. There are also 3 T20s against that Australian squad and 3 T20s against Pakistan starting on Friday.
Can you imagine if the Australians come over here and they don't play a single ball because of the weather? That would be hilarious.
Oh, that would be hilarious, wouldn't it? Well, it wouldn't, because we'd have to sit around doing
still be hilarious
for hours.
Muttley just got sent a tweet from Gorilla Cricket with all those listing of ODIs, and I suspect that was probably Knackle.
No, it was me. Just in case. I thought, well, I gave it to him in sound and in written language as well.
Bloody hell, Hendo. Wobble Seam says Bad's Light might be more interesting than whatever the fuck is going on right now.
Could be.
Nothing's going on. Muttley, if you're stuck for content, you can always do commentary on my fish.
Oh, I like the look of those fish. They're very colourful, aren't they? Although once you've spoken about their colours, what else do you say?
EDM Larkin says, as a lover of hurling and cricket, Bad's Light stopping play is hilarious. Well,
what happens in hurling? They just play through anything. I suppose they do.
Batter each other around the head with sticks.
Well, they do, but I'm wondering if they do it from sort of short range or close range when it's particularly dark. Presumably they do. Is there any other sport in which people go off for the weather quite so regularly?
Baseball, they go off for rain.
Tennis.
Tennis,
yeah. Probably true. That's about it on the Twitter sphere for the time being, isn't it? Have you got anything on Hot Mic or YouTube or
Hot Mic
Tracker?
Steve is with us. Great coverage, chaps. Keeps me in the game whilst restoring and building in the cost of.
We did
that one out already.
Hours ago.
And he's there for the long term. Let's have a look on YouTube. Pakistan will lose eventually, says Aso Mia 27, and then he says bye bye. Facebook. Let's have a look. Boys, you're not exactly endearing yourselves to your female audience. Give us a break, says Councillor Evans.
That wasn't me. That was somebody else.
That must have been hours ago.
It was Jono.
Yeah. That was Jono about his wife, who's sitting in
the wife.
Kumar Javed, Wayat Shah, Murid Ishrad are all speaking, typing in a language that I don't understand.
Right, I think we ought to put on highlights or do whatever we do, because I don't think there's any prospect of this game continuing today. We might get half a day's play tomorrow. We might get enough time for England to take these wickets, or for Pakistan to get past England and bowl them out for 8. All things are possible, but for the moment I think we should take a siesta, and if there's any more play today we will get back to you, but just don't expect any.
But that would mean getting the bear into your place to put some highlights on for the time being.
I'm just going to leave.
We're not going to wibble.
Yeah. Bear, can you put on some highlights? Right, so long everybody, till next time.
See you later.
Well, That's got rid of Fred. That was the way we did it. We can all come back on now.
Right.
That was just to get rid of Fred. It was passed through to the England management, and they agreed that they were quite happy with that. Mike says, if Australia don't play a single ball this mini-series, I'd absolutely love it. That would be a fucking highlight right there. Muttley says about his fish, they are quite aggressive, so you could do fish fighting if that's not too non-PC. I don't think it's is it on non-PC? A bit of fish fighting.
They do it in nature. Why can't you bet on it, man?
Why can't I do it in nature? Well, betting on sort of which zebra a lion will bring down.
I don't think I've ever seen
your boat.
I don't think I've ever seen fish fight.
What, fish fighting?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not like we're under the ocean looking at it on a regular basis, is it? I mean, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is a lot of fish fighting that goes on that we're unaware of.
You say that. Last night, I'm going to die to tell you this. I was watching a live webcam on YouTube from America.
Ooh.
A guy had the webcam in the water where the salmon were going upstream.
Did he get attacked by a bear?
That's the exciting bit. The bears were coming in and grabbing the salmon and eating them.
And he's just standing there doing it. Wow, that's a bit fucking crazy.
I went down a YouTube hole and I came across that, and it's just like I watched it for about an hour.
I hate to think what happens when you go down a YouTube hole, Nestlers.
I find some very, very entertaining stuff.
It's a funny old life,
mostly travel, people walking around New York, describing the history of where they are and stuff. Quite interesting.
Well, I think it's raining now. I think it is raining. There are grounds people racing across the ground, and the covers are well and truly on. It's 20 minutes to 7. I can't possibly see that there will be any more cricket this evening. I think we should take a risk, Bear, and I think we should go off air. What do you reckon?
I could just put highlights on.
All right then. It's just that I want to go at 7 o'clock, before 7 o'clock. No, it's absolutely pissing it down.
It's pissing it down.
There's no chance of cricket tonight. We will be back at about 10:50 tomorrow, when it will probably still be pissing down with rain, but we might just get cricket at about 4 o'clock. So I would say join us tomorrow for maybe some cricket. And until then, it's good night from all of us at Gorilla Cricket.
Night. Okay. Night. Bye.
Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Carol Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. We would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated